How's it going? How is everyone doing on this happy Sunday? Give me a second. Yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. That's what we're going to be doing today. We're just going to be going into some Final Cut editing. We're going to be editing my latest YouTube video, and I haven't had a chance to touch it since then, but it is now time to edit that. Here we go. Am I not live? Hello, hello. Am I? Boom. Let's see. What's happening here? Why am I? Finish. All good. So yeah, we're going to jump right into Final Cut and we're going to test it out. I just want to make sure that we're live because for some reason it's not coming up on my phone. Why is that? Let's just double check that we're live. Are we live? Are you guys seeing me? Hey, Luthar, how's it going? Hey, Basha. Hello, thank you for joining. I just want to make sure that we're live and the stream is good. Connecting to stream software. Yeah, we're live. It's not showing up on my phone. That's interesting. Oh, there we go. Now we're live. Now we're live. I can confirm that we're live. So yeah, we're going to jump right into Final Cut Pro. We're going to see some fun stuff. Let's just jump in there right now. So we're going to start with color grading. Oh, I can't show you that. I'm sorry. Don't look. Avert your eyes. What are we looking at? Here we go. Don't fear Final Cut. That's not what we want. We want this one, right? There we go. So yeah, if you guys have questions regarding Final Cut, if you Final Cut or grading or anything like that, let me know. Let me know. Stream is good. Yes, that was definitely an NDA thing. Yeah, don't erase that from the internet. It's not supposed to be live. But yeah, we're going to be... I actually did a members only stream earlier where I was doing a little bit of my client work because I wanted to do something live because I hadn't done a live stream for a long time. So I did a members only. So if you guys aren't members, make sure you jump into that because then I do some more in-depth, higher end stuff. I go over the workflow in like Cinema 4D, After Effects, also DaVinci, just color grading, but higher end stuff, stuff that I can't really make public. But you know, if you guys join the membership, then I do live streams just for that kind of stuff where it's more in depth. Still, I'm not breaking any NDAs, but I am able to kind of work on the higher end stuff. Yeah, so I agree. I also love editing now. It's especially with the cameras that I'm using. The silicon, the M1 chip is so much better. But yeah, we're going to start with color grading because I want to make sure that my face is properly exposed and it is in the right place. So we're going to start with that and then we're going to go into the edit. I doubt I'll finish this edit because I'm going to be trying to manage the live stream as well as doing the edit. And I know that I'll have to refine it later and do all that kind of stuff. Let's find a nice frame. There you go. I think that's good. Now, should we use Color Finale or should we use the built-in tools? Let me know what you guys would want to do it in. What do you guys need a little bit of help in? Because I'm comfortable in doing both. I would typically go to Color Finale because it has more tools that I can use, but let's see. So yeah, we're going to be focusing on the color grade. Let's find a nice frame. That's okay. I'll make it bigger so you guys can see what I'm doing. Hit, oh, why did I do that? Keystroke Pro. Bam. And then let's do Cursor Pro. So you guys see, yeah, that's good. Enable Keystroke Pro, and then Cursor Pro. Turn it on. Boom. Enable Cursor Pro. So you guys can see what I'm doing. And if I right click or left click, you guys can see. Let me know if that works for you guys. Keystroke. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Not now. Let's make it extra large. Boom. You guys see that at the top of the screen? You guys don't. Why? That's interesting. Should be sharing my screen, but it's not. Display there. That's good. Appearance. General. Access granted. Auto start. That's fine. Anyways, doesn't matter. Can't see it. I'll have to look into that after. Anyways. Okay, color grading. Let's go. Let's get some color grading in up on this. Live is good, good. Oh, nice. NDAs are fun to work with. They're a great place to start, especially when you want to work on some cool stuff. I worked on so much stuff that was amazing, and I can't talk about it. But why am I talking about it? I'll stop. All right. Color finale or built-in tools. Let's do built-in tools. Why not? So I'm going to add a new color wheels. I'm going to open up my Vectorscope, and also let's close that. Let's make this smaller. Make sure that it is set the right way. So if you guys are familiar with the Vectorscope, I hope you should be, because you should have watched all my color grading tutorials. But this is just represents all the colors that are. Do I have that here? Let's see. Oh no, I don't have that here. Anyways. So this is your red, your magenta, your blue, cyan, green. And if you had a color chart that was open, you'd be able to see all the stuff. You'd be able to, oh no, I don't have it open. Do I? Time bolt VFX. No, okay, I don't have it open. That's good, that's good. Color grading socials, solo, cool. Actually, this is a good example. So if you notice that this has a color chart on it, and you can see that there are items that are really trying to push towards those colors. So you would have the red, so it's trying to pick up the red. You have the blue, which is here, so it's trying to find those colors. Obviously this is off because it's color graded to something else. But let's go here. Let's go back. Is that it? Yeah, here's the edit. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is make this a little bit bigger. Actually, no, I'll leave it this side. So I want to make sure that my skin tone is actually on the skin tone indicator. So we're just going to do a simple crop. Select the crop, and I'm just going to choose the brightest part of my face, because I want to make sure that it's exposed correctly and on the right color. Well, look at that. It's already on the right color. And it's almost exposed. So if I wanted to, ideally you want it to have it about 70 as the brightest, your skin tone to be the brightest in sunlight. So you want to be exposing your face for 70 IRE, which is this line right here that I set. And if you don't see this line, you can just drag it up and you should be able to find it and just add it to 70. So it's a little bit dark. So if I turn off the crop, you should see that it's properly exposed. But if I wanted to, I could bump that up to make it a little bit brighter. So let's do that. Let's add a color wheels. It's going to take the highlights, and I'm just going to expose it a little bit more. You can see this going up. You can see this getting closer to that line. Now I don't want it to be at 70. So you want it to be between 40 for the darkest part and 70 for the brightest. But because I'm indoors, That should be pretty good. And I'm already on the skin tone indicator. But if I wasn't, if this line, let's say, was over here, just off a little bit, a lot of people are able to notice that slight color shift. You may not notice it. You may be trusting your eyes based on what the screen is telling you and what you're actually looking at. But if it's off a little bit and it's a little bit yellow or green, it's because it's actually getting closer to the green part. And so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you grab the center, and it's all about subtlety. You never want to push anything too far. Like, you can go crazy with this. The whole thing is, if I pushed it all the way into the red like this, so I'm actually doing one of the videos that I did record is the common mistakes in color grading, especially for beginners. So like that's 100% red. And beyond that, if you can, like when it starts reaching the edge of it, that's when you start getting oversaturated. So you never want to go there. Let's see what this looks like, shall we? Let's turn off that crop and yeah, beautiful. So let's drop it back down to the center. Where is it? Come on. I'm going to reset that. You can actually see over here, I don't know if you can see that, but it does actually tell you which direction the color is going. So it's a good indicator if you're heading towards the magentas, if you're heading towards the blue and the cyan. It's a good visual reason to use the color board. So I'm just going to reset it again and just brighten it up a little bit. I can look at this, I can see where my skin tones are, and I actually have it set to my waveform and to Luma. But this is all the colors from left to right. So from left to right, all your colors are built in right here. So this dark spot, this bright spot here, all this white is here, is all that. That's what it's picking up. And then this hot spot could be up here, this part up there. And then as we go over, that's the hat. It's nice and bright. You have my face right here because you can actually see the colors built into it. You have my shoulder highlights. You have the blue in the background. You have that hot spot, which is right there. So you can actually see based on, so if you're ever looking at this, you're like, ooh, what's that? Because if there's something that is just blown out like this, you're like, oh, what could that be? Oh, that's that thing. So you can actually go back and drop it back. So you never want to go above 100 because that's when it starts, stuff starts to clip and you don't see it. Okay, so that feels good overall. That's just the general overview of the color wheels. Now you can do the same thing in Color Finale. You can do the same thing with Cinema Grade. I personally don't like Cinema Grade because I like having the numbers. I like having the access to the mask while I'm using Color Finale and when I'm using the color wheels. In Cinema Grade, you can't adjust the mask. You can't turn it on and off. You can't. Color Finale doesn't bring up the. Do I have Color Finale installed in this machine? I don't know. I don't think so. Does not look like I do. But yeah, I'm going to eventually do a Color Finale versus Color Grade and why I prefer Color Finale over Color Grade. Okay, let's turn off that crop and let's get some editing done, shall we? Hey, Matthew, how's it going? Happy Sunday to you. Jashim, how's it going? And so my point is everyone looks on different devices and they all end up having calibrated this, not having a calibrated display. What do you think? Okay, so this is actually one of the points in that color grading video that I'm going to be releasing soon. That's exactly the point. You can be color grading on your monitor, and if you're trusting just your eyes and the monitor to be correct, you can't. because it all depends on the environment that you're editing it, color grading it. It depends on how long you've been looking at something. It depends on, did you forget to do night mode? Because I can turn my whole monitor to night mode, look at the scopes, and be able to correct it properly. I can make my monitor black and white, and I will be able to know where the color is. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying that it doesn't matter the monitor. I can be color grading on a really bad monitor, and I trust the scopes and I trust the numbers, not what my eyes are actually telling me. Because even if you calibrate a monitor, it's going to go out of calibration. Just if it's on for a long time, the heat can mess it up and change the colors. Like even professional studios, they would get their monitors calibrated every 6 months, if not more. So you have to trust the scopes. You have to be able to trust the numbers and not just what your eyes are telling you. Because if you've been color grading for a long time, or even color correcting, and then you walk away and you come back an hour later, you'll look at it and you'll look at the grade that you thought was amazing, and you'll be like, ooh, that's that doesn't look so good. It's all about subtlety and adding the colors that you want. Like even in this one, I'm trying to go for a natural look, just kind of the look that, this is the same LUT because I'm using my base LUT that I created for this. So all the cameras are already set. So I know when I drop it on, it's all going to work out. Okay, let's move on to show Final Cut Pro. Give me a second. I just want to get these. I want to get these comments off after 15, 20 seconds. Facebook, YouTube, comments, general. Here we go. Where is it? Automatically hide comment overlays after 15 seconds. Beauty. Let's go. Okay. So now let's move on to, let's get some editing. Shall we? Bam. Should I move that out of the way? Maybe. Make that smaller just so we know what we're doing. All right. Did I not install a plugin? Is that what's happening? Avatar. All right. That's probably a M installer plugin that's not here. So we troubleshoot. What happens when one of your plugins has this sign? That means that a plugin is not installed properly. And we gotta fix that. So what's going on? Which one is not installed? I know you guys can see it, but I'm looking through my M installer right now to see, oh, MTuber is not installed. So I'm gonna quit Final Cut and install MTuber, shall we? Boom. I'm gonna show current application. There you go. So now it's installed. What else? Yeah, a lot of times when you see that plugin that's not working, it really does come down to a plugin that's not installed properly, or it's corrupt, or hasn't been updated because Final Cut changed something. And that's one of the things that I don't like about Final Cut, is that they don't really give developers a heads up that something new and big is changing. That's one of the downsides. And actually, I think I talk about that in this video. Anything else missing? M message. That should be here. Let's get it in just in case before we installing. Let's go. Okay, once that's in, let's get editing. Okay, boom. And we're into Final Cut Pro. Okay, and you can, oh. No, it's still doesn't show up. I got to figure that out. Why the cursor is not showing it. So if you want to close your scopes, which we want to do right now because we don't want to be dealing with that, and that didn't install for some reason. I don't know why. Which one is that? Avatar is coming up. Typewriter. So that's good. That's good. Oh, it's the intro. Which one is that? That's interesting. Okay, I'm moving on from that. Oh, that's why it's missing my profile pic. Is that really what it is? Okay, let's get my profile pic in there. Missing file. So it's not a text file. You lied to me. Let's relink the original media. We want profile 2A. Let's go. Relink. Profile 1. Profile 2A. Boom. There it is. Just search for it. Relink files, and voila. I gotta accept clip. Cancel that. Still, something's amiss. All right. So we got mtuber 2, mtuber 1. Is it really? Because it doesn't like... So it's installed, but it's not coming up. Mr. Camera Junkie in the house. How's it going? There you go. I'm going to put all these here. So there you go. Happy Sunday. All right. So something is coming up with this plugin, because this is not my main machine that I edit on, but let's figure it out. Because this is what happens. We always have to figure it out. So avatar is not coming up. Why? So we got nslate, simple, and then avatar. Is it mtuber 2? There we go. Fine. Put in a new one. Yeah, for some reason, that same effect is not coming up properly. But let's replace the avatar. See, this is what I was saying about the Vectorscope. You have that red, and it's beaming right to, because this is black and red. So it's going from 0 saturation to red. Right there. Look at that. Happy Sunday, Roger. How's it going? Oops. So if anyone gets blocked by Nightbot, that is an automatic thing that comes up. So I'm going to click View Deleted. That's fine. So it's not letting me uncheck that. So apologies for that. It doesn't like, Nightbot does not like certain emojis, or if you do the same thing too often. So yeah, we had that. All right, good. No worries. Thank you for that. Yeah, so it's an AI that's working in the background, because sometimes during these streams it just goes nuts, and it's trying to remove those spam links and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, okay. So we have that. Let's grab my profile pic and okay, I'm gonna add that to, why doesn't it like that? That's good. So I'm going to go File. Relink original media. Is that July pictures? That's good. All good. So I did this. Profile 2A. Click OK. Yeah, that's the one. Choose. Relink files. All good. Let's apply clip. Bam. There we go. So that file. Sweet. We're back in business. Which means that I can open up this guy. No. I can open up this guy. And now we have. It is time to stop fearing. So yeah, if you guys want to close your scopes, just hit Command 7, or you can always go up to View and turn off View Scopes. There's a whole bunch of things that you can find in here. You can choose your overlays and whatnot, but yeah, so scopes are off. So now we have the intro.
Cosmic power.
Cool. Now we need an intro, right? There are the socials, so that's cool. Let's open up something else. Camrig, mix, cool. So this is the one thing that I wish that Final Cut did have, is the ability to have multiple timelines open. Because as much as I don't care for it, I would like that feature where I can open up two timelines, copy whole sections or just images from it and just drag and drop. But this way I have to keep moving around the timeline one step at a time. I have to copy and paste. I can't just drag and drop. Wow. And for Final Cut, which is such a drag and drop user-friendly app, doesn't make any sense why they would kill that kind of stuff.
Power.
There we go. So that's that. So my avatar is good. Again, we're missing something. What are we missing from here? Text. So what is this? Yeah, so again, I'm moving to a new computer. And are you guys excited about what's going to... are you guys excited about Tuesday? Are you guys going to be buying any of the new stuff that's coming in? If Apple announces anything Pro, like a little desktop, like a Mac Mini, is that what you guys going to go for? How about if they announce the iMac Pro or the Mac Studio, the smaller version? Are you guys going to be getting any of that? Let me know. Let me know, what are you guys going to be buying? So what is that? No, that's not going to tell me, is it? That's the frustrating thing as well. See, in After Effects, it'll tell you which plugin is actually missing. So here is 5 things. That's right. Yeah, money flying out of our wallets. Absolutely. So let's see. So what are we missing? So we have Camrig, we have MTuber. I'll have to figure that one out. So I guess we'll move on from this one and just keep editing. Keep going. Remember, when I was in grade school, I was in a play, and someone was supposed to show up and do their part with me. And so I had my line and they had their line, and back and forth, back and forth. That person didn't show up. So teacher pushed me out on stage. I think it was grade 4. Teacher pushed me out on stage, and the lights are on. I say my line, but there's no one there to say their line. And I didn't learn that person's line. And all I hear is some people start giggling from the audience, and I hear my teacher just go, "Keep going." So I ended up saying my lines, which made no sense for the entire performance because it was supposed to be a back and forth between myself and someone else. But yeah, grade 4. That was fun. Keep going. So 5 clips. So I'll have to open up on my other timeline. Anyways, that's good. Let's keep going, shall we?
Power.
Fix it. Camera.
There are plenty of editing apps out there for the Mac, and it is time to stop fearing Final Cut Pro and embrace its
phenomenal cosmic power.
Phenomenal cosmic power.
Gotta be goofy with this stuff, right? Oh, that's good. That's right. Embrace Final Cut's phenomenal cosmic power. Why wouldn't you? So I'm just grabbing stuff from other timelines and then bringing it into the main timeline. Oops, gotta close that. Don't look. How about I just close these? Close that. Close that. So I don't bump those open again. Boom. So I'm gonna call that rename everything. Don't fear Final Cut. So everyone that's in the chat right now, let me know if you guys would want to see me do the same thing, but in DaVinci or Premiere, because I'm comfortable in working in all of those.
It is time to stop.
Put in the audio. Boom.
It is time to stop fearing Final Cut Pro and embrace its
Phenomenal cosmic power.
phenomenal cosmic power. There are plenty of editing apps out there for the Mac, and all of them have their strengths. But the one that I believe of editing apps out there for the Mac, and all of them have their strengths. But the one that I believe is by far the best for independent creators and editors is Final Cut Pro. It can be used by
So in the last stream, I actually went through and I showed how I used Timebolt to remove all the gaps in the entire stream. And in this case, it saved me about 20 minutes of just me messing around and cutting out those all the silent bits. So right now I have the entire timeline that is set to all the clips, all the takes that I did while I was recording this. And there was 20 minutes of silence that was automatically cut out. So, and this is 21 minutes worth of footage. In the final video is probably going to be maybe 8 minutes. So I'm gonna cut another 20, not 20. I'm gonna cut 20 minutes. This video is gonna be 1:40. It's gonna be a long short. But yeah. So if you guys haven't checked out the how to set up your keyboard shortcuts, I know a lot of people use devices, and I know that Matthew, you have your Stream Deck, which is an awesome little tool. And I've been looking for my spare iPhone. I can't find it, but I want to set it up the way you have it set up, where I can use it to do shortcuts, especially so I can do Ecamm Live stuff and do some triggers and get some stuff out there, some animations. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to a more powerful machine. My goal is I'm looking for, I might buy another iMac if they added some features to the camera. Oh, I think they're going to update the cameras. I think they're going to update the internals. I think there's going to be a whole brand new look and feel, especially to the iMac Pros, the ones that have the M1 Max and M1 Pro chips inside. So I'm actually looking forward to that. But the computer that I buy next, and that's why I've held out for many of the laptops, that's why I've stayed with the machine that I've had for so long, because I want to buy a machine that's going to last me at least minimum 4 years and up to 7 years, because my Mac Pro has lasted that long. And the kind of apps that I do and the kind of things that I work on require a beastier machine. So I don't want to get to a point, because I'm at a point where the RAM is starting to feel slow. I'm getting to a point where the camera codecs aren't working on that machine very well. But it still works, and for the things that I do in After Effects. And that should be the goal for everybody. Nice. Happy Sunday, by the way. Yeah, once you find a workflow that works best for you, the reason I like using just a standard keyboard is that no matter where I go, no matter which facility I work at, or no matter which application I work at, I can set the keyboards to be what I want. Like if I'm on set and I need to do something really quickly, I'd rather have the muscle memory built in, no matter what application I'm working in this keyboard, because this input device is literally the same anywhere you go. So that's why I prefer this. And I've set it up where my hand is literally, here, I'll show you. Can I show you this? I've actually set it up where my hand literally rests like this, and I have the play button I have the space bar for play. I have the cut, which is a blade. I have trim to beginning, which is right here, and trim to end. And my muscle memory is just moving this. Like that's how lazy I am in editing. I can do 90% of my editing right here. I don't have to lift my hand up from here. I can actually just lean back, put my hand in that position, and I'm off to the races. And I have V if I need to disable something. So the ring finger is the one that disables. So I don't have to lift my hand. I don't have to move it too much. I don't have to do, so it's just these input devices, and they're universal no matter where I go. So and a lot of times this happened where I was in LA and I needed to edit right on, we're doing a large live event, and I had to edit something in the go, and I didn't have, if I had to have my whole thing, that pressure of trying to then navigate what a keyboard did again, yeah, I'd rather spend the 3 minutes to adjust the keyboard inputs. No matter what app I'm using, boom, those are the same functions that worked every time. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, I've been wanting to do this kind of stream. My friend Avars has been doing a stream where he works on his coding and his apps quite often. Matthew just did another one where he just talked about his, he just did a live stream, and it was great. And it's just, I need to get this stuff done, and why not hang out with you guys and get it done? That said, let's get it done. Okay, boom, there goes. Simple.
Editors is Final Cut Pro. It can be used by beginners and pros alike. And the fact that it's easy to learn and easy to use for basic editing is a
I also like the No Bad Ideas hat. Too bad they went out of business. I was actually tempted to drive down to, where was it? Cincinnati? I think it was Cincinnati. Where they were going to, they were doing a liquidation of the entire company. I was like, I'm going to go down there just to buy the hats. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice stuff. It's nice quality. I got to find a replacement. Do I have a replacement? Not yet. I like my hats. It's my thing, I guess, for the channel.
Editors is Final Cut Pro. It can be used by beginners and pros alike. And the fact that it's easy to learn and easy to use for basic editing is a pro, not a downside for the app. It's simple on the surface, but can complete complex tasks that any other editor can. You can set it up.
So look at that. So because I use Time Bolt, it's already done the editing for me, especially for YouTube. It's so good. Like that was a whole bunch of sentences that I paused in between, and then I got to a take where I kind of stumbled, and I just delete that and I just keep going.
You can set it up with very specific. You can set it up to be very specific. You can set it up with. You can set it up to be very very specific with your editor can. You can set it up to be very specific with control devices or keep it as simple as you'd like. And that efficiency is complemented with its speed, importing, editing, and exporting. Since Apple is integrated software and hardware, there is no match on the Mac for an NLE. There is no match. Since Apple is
We're gonna get this
integrated
done during
software
this
and
stream.
hardware, there is no
So here we go. Boom.
rated software and hardware. There is software and hardware. There is no match on the Mac. There is no match on the Mac for editing software. And first and foremost, there is no match on the Mac for editing software. And first and foremost, I want to be creative when I'm editing. I want to build stories, and I want to work as I'm editing. And I want to work as fast as I can think. I want an app that keeps up with me. I want an app that keeps up with me think. I want an app that keeps up with me, not the other way around. I want an app that keeps up with me. I want an application that can keep up. I want an application that can keep up with me. The technical side has. I want an application that can keep up. I want an application that can keep up with me. The technical side has always been the biggest block to learning a new app for me. For me, the technicals have always been the biggest.
So yeah, everything I'm saying in this video is true. I'm not a technical editor. I'm not the guy that they send the final thing to where they make sure that it's all calibrated, the time codes are perfect, it matches up with. I'm not that one. I'm usually the guy that gets the first pass. I build the rough edit, refine it, and then I pass it on to, especially for bigger projects, and then I pass it on to the color graders, the audio guys, the guys that then put in a lot of the technical aspects, make sure that the colors are perfect, make sure that it's broadcast standard quality. These are things that I had to learn over the years, because when something comes back and we just need to quickly change it or fix it, I was able to do that. But technically, I never liked to have to learn or spend way too much learning before I get to that first creative part. I want to jump into an application. That's why I love Mac so much. I want to jump into an application and just start creating and learn as I go, because I don't want to learn the entire application from nuts to bolts all the way through before I can get into it. I want to be able to get in, drop some of the material in, some of the media, and just start editing something. And I know it'll break. I know I'll get to a point where I'll be like, oh, I want to do a cut. How do I do a cut? And this is how I would learn. And then I would literally look up for that one thing, how to do that one thing. And it's usually quite simple. You can just navigate to a few things and you can say, okay, select blade. Okay, blade tool. Okay, cool. And then shortcuts. And I immediately try to figure out what that shortcut is for that one thing that I'm trying to do right then and there. Because then I'll do that for many, many steps, and I'll learn how to do it. It's we're teaching our son how to read, and we're just in the repetition mode. And it all comes down to repeat, practice, practice, practice. And then once you get to that point where you're comfortable and you just know what that button is, and you know what that button does, you can move on to the next thing. Because there's no scenario where you walk into an edit or anything creative and you're just like, I need to take the photo while I'm editing the application and and color grading and finishing and doing the music all at the same time. So what's the first thing that you want to do? You learn how to do that. And so DaVinci Resolve is great, but the learning curve is much bigger, and they've done a better job recently to make it easier to get into, because most people want to get in and just edit something. Let's continue.
Biggest learning. I want an application that can keep up with me. For me, the technicals have always been the biggest learning curve. For me personally,
Whoa, it's angry.
For me personally,
Nope.
with me. Personally, the technicals
Yeah,
have
sorry.
always been the biggest block.
I know.
For me, the biggest...
I wasn't feeling well that day. I tried to get this out.
For me, the technicals...
Here we go.
Think. I want an application that can keep up with me. For me, the technicals have always been
The problem
biggest
with live
learning
editing
block.
and seeing behind the scenes. You're not supposed to see that stuff,
Think.
but here I am.
I want an application that
'Cause
can
I
keep
want
up with me.
to
For me, the
wanna hang out with you
technicals have
guys.
always been the biggest learning block. For me, the technical...
Wow. I really couldn't.
I want an application that can keep up with me. For me, the technicals have
Really
always
couldn't
been
say that
the
line, could
biggest
I?
block to learning any new app. And I feel that most are similar. And I feel that most people are similar in that respect.
Yes, I know.
Opening up an app.
I didn't
for
do
the-
it live. It was pre-recorded. I'm
up with
sorry.
me. For me,
I'm
the technicals
sorry.
have always been the
I'm not
biggest
sorry.
block to learning any
It's human
new
nature.
app.
Deal
And
with
I
it.
feel that most are similar. And I feel that most people...
Wow. So if there, because I know you guys are got some YouTubers here. When do you guys use scripts? Do you guys write scripts? Do you guys read it? Do you guys kind of cuff it? Do you guys have notes? How do you guys do it? Because I've tried both ways, but because I want to make my videos as concise as possible, and I want to make sure that the information is correct, because majority of the videos that are on my channel, they are what's the word? Evergreen. So I want to make sure that they're compact. I want to make sure that when people watch a tutorial or a video that I'm talking about something very specific a year from now, it's very compact. So like, why use 10 words when 3 will do? So that's why I write my scripts, and that's why I like using the teleprompter. Not because I feel more natural doing it, is because I know that when someone finally lands on my video, which they do, they're going to get a great experience and get the information that they need, and they're without any extra fluff. Like right now, what I'm doing here in the live stream, it is a good, like it's just me free-wheeling as we go. So you can't be a perfectionist. You got to let that stuff go. I remember for my first video, I felt, or for I would probably say my first 10 videos, I felt like I was trying to be perfect in the videos. Now I will watch them and it's just like, they're so bad because I wasn't comfortable. And it's just like, I just should have, and it was good, but I waited too long. I waited 3 months before I uploaded my first video. And I remember being nervous in front of the camera, and it was just so silly because nobody was watching it. Like I just hit record, but for some reason I was nervous. Like somebody on the other side was out there. Let's see. My wife is amazing. I love you too. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, I got to the point where I'm sitting here not talking to this camera. Like it's a camera. I'm not talking to the camera. I'm seeing your faces there. I'm seeing you watch this watch on the other side of this camera. And because that's how I feel when I'm watching you guys, I feel like we're just having a conversation. And so you're going to get to a point where the camera just becomes invisible and becomes part of the experience. So John is saying he keeps bullet points to keep him on track, cross them off as I go. That's great. Yeah, I tried that. I just feel that I ramble too much unless I rehearse and practice. But then I feel when I write the script, I write it in a way that I try to speak, but it's literally, this is the information I want to convey. Whereas if I go off the cuff, I feel like I repeat myself. But points, I have done many that have been points, and they come off way more natural. So I probably should do that more. What do you guys think? Should I do more unscripted and just go? Yeah, so I script to not miss any details. I'm experimenting with going straight to camera. See, I think that's the golden key. Scripting it, but then off the cuff, having that block. I think when I do bullet points, I can go off the cuff a lot easier. When I script it, my brain wants to say exactly what I've written, and I can never say it perfectly the way I've written it. But yeah, what do you guys think? Should I do more off the cuff? If you've seen any of my other videos, which ones seem more natural? Can you tell? Does it feel like this one that we're watching here is scripted? So you're gonna immediately now tell that I've done that. All right, let's get back into the edit.
Any new app. And I feel that most people are similar in that respect. Opening up the app for the first
Yeah, there you go. See, and the best part is because I can see the waveform. Because I can see the waveform, I'm gonna make it bigger. I know when I've said the same thing multiple times. So that's another reason. Like I can cut these two out and it'll be good. But
opening up an app for the first time.
There you go. Like
Opening
just
up.
It's
opening up
weird
an app-
editing with waveforms because it's a visual representation of sound.
Respect. Opening up an app for the first time, most want to just poke around and create something simple.
Exactly.
And that feeling of completing an edit and exporting it is a very and that feeling of around and create something simple. And that feeling of completing an edit and exporting it is a very powerful dopamine rush that will make you want to create again. And every time I've needed to do extensive learning, reading, or training just to do something, just to get something done, every time I've needed to do extensive learning, training, or reading just to get something done has always been a deterrent. I am trained on all the editing apps and Final Cut, and I am trained on all the editing apps and Final Cut.
So a lot of times I actually edit. At twice the speed. And to do that, and to edit twice the speed, you just press LL twice, because that will speed up.
Has always been a deterrent, and I am trained on all the editing apps, and Final Cut is by far.
Yeah, so sometimes when I do edit,
reading just to get something done has always been a deterrent, and I am trained on all the editing apps, and Final Cut is by far the easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing,
what do you guys feel? Should I edit that way? Should I edit faster?
The easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, it's the one that I open up and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, it's the one that I open up and after master. And
Thank you. And hello and happy Sunday to you. Type the way you would speak. And then when you read it again, you'll feel the energy is intended to be communicated. Yeah. So when I write, I actually read out the sentences out loud before I commit to that sentence to make sure it feels good. Because there's no way the voice inside your head and the actual way you speak, where the emphasis is, are completely different. Because I know when I first started to write these scripts, I tried to write them as though I'm like Shakespeare or something like that. Like it's just like it had to be like, like I was doing it's like I was doing a university script where it's like it's formatted, it's had to be, and so it's like scrapping all that and just write the line of what I'm trying to communicate, and like I write it as quickly as possible. Then I read it out loud, and if it just like, oh, no one speaks like that, and it's like, and then I take it out, and it's like, and again, one of a writer friend from years and years ago, she said to me, it's like, why use 10 words when 3 will do, and why use big words when a simple one communicates it perfectly? So you don't have to use big words. You don't have to use, this expansive vocabulary or vernacular or whatever you want to call it. Use a simple word. If a simple word literally, I think there was someone that's like, what's a better word for trust? And it's like, well, trust is a pretty good word. It's just like, use that word. If it doesn't have to be, if you're saying this, the only time you really need to have a secondary word or version of a word is if you already used that word the sentence before. That's when you want to maybe change it up so it's a little bit different. So there's your writing tip. The more you know. Yeah, so like there's so many like little cues. Just keep it simple. And if you need to expand it, the only time you need to use bigger words is when you're trying to say a sentence, but one word literally communicates that. There's a German word for. I can't remember what the word is. It's gone right now. But it's literally, it's when two trucks are on the highway and they're blocking both lanes, so you can't pass them. So there's a word that translates directly to elephants racing, and they have one word for that. So like in that case, you want to find the word that will convey the full meaning instead of having to say 10 words. So that's where the 10 words, why use 10 when 3 will do? Okay, let's get back into it.
After nearly 20 easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20, I am trained on all the editing apps, and Final Cut is by far the easiest to learn and master. And after nearly Final Cut is by far the easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut is the one. And after nearly
How long does it take to cut up an average? I can get now, like I can probably finish this in the next hour to do the base edit. It's the adding the graphics, adding the B-roll on top of it, any screen grab, the B-roll, all that kind of stuff, adding the text. That's the part that usually takes a little bit longer for these videos, because I try to have it very engaging as possible, where it's like, this is what I'm talking about. That's when I'll do the zoom ins to those sections, those parts of the screen. Like I wish I can do that right now, where I can just zoom into, let's see if I can get that to work. But yeah, so I would probably say that another 2 hours on top of that. So I'm not going to do that today. I just want to get the base edit done. That's what I'm going to be doing this live stream for. Let's see how much we've cut out already. So of that 20-minute video, we've already cut out 2 minutes. Great, look at that. Beauty. And then we zoom in, because my keyboard shortcuts are set, where the plus and minus. Never have to stretch my fingers too much. Can we do, let's see, where is it? Accessibility, display, zoom, use keyboard shortcut, toggle it on and off. Sure. Hover text. Okay, so I should be able to do Alt Command 8. Boom. What did we see? I don't think we saw anything. Voice over. Nope. Use enable hover text. Yeah, I want to do that. So I'm just enabling command. All right, I don't want to do that. That is a good question. I typically shoot, if I'm doing a product review, like say if I was going to be talking about, this monitor, I would probably shoot the B-roll beforehand. I would shoot everything. I would overshoot. I would do like a 3-to-1 shooting ratio. So I would try to get all the details of, I would try to get, all the angles, everything that I wanted to do. I would try to get it. I would get everything. And I would do different variations, different camera angles, all that kind of stuff. Because when I'm in the edit, I actually shoot my B-roll for products before I write the script for it. Because I've noticed that when I write the script for it and I'm just playing with it, that's when I notice that I didn't always use a screen wipe if you want to clean your screen. I always notice that if I try to write the script after if I try to do B-roll after I've written the script, I notice things that I didn't notice when you're actually all up in the, where is it? There we go. Like you'll start noticing things that you didn't notice when you're just trying to write the script for it. So my recommendation is always film the B-roll, over-film everything. Because then you'll know what to actually write about. Because you'll look at it. You're literally paying attention to everything. You go through the menus, you do all that stuff. And then you write your points of the thing that you want. Because then you'll know like how to organize that entire thing. But in this case, where I'm talking about Final Cut Pro, I'm talking about very, very specific things. I'll do screen capture afterwards. Because when I'm watching it and listening to the flow, I can then match the speed of the action that I need to do. So that's very different. Because it's almost like having a voiceover and then you're editing to that voiceover. Because I'll let the audio play and I'll just do the screen capture. Now, there are times where I'll do a screen capture while I'm recording the voiceover. But in this case, it's kind of a mix. I'm showing the things that are going to be, that are great about Final Cut and why you shouldn't fear using it. Because you're going to get access to all these things that are not available in other applications. So yeah. Pointer control, switch, keyboard, voiceover. No, I don't want to do any of that. Follow focus. It's fine. Okay, let's get out of this. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, let's get back to the edit.
Easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, and after nearly 20 years, and after by far the easiest to learn and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut, it's like having those master. And after nearly 20 years and master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut is the app that I open time again to get work done. And after
So let me ask you a question. When you guys are editing your A-roll, are you looking at the timeline? Are you looking at the timeline? Where is it? There it is. Are you looking at the timeline or do you look at the edit? Where do you look when you're editing the A-roll? Because right now I find myself looking here at the edits and I'm listening to make sure that it sounds good, because I know that at any point I can cover it in B-roll if I'm doing anything funky in my face. I'm always looking at the timeline, not at here. Definitely when I know that the A-roll is working, that the audio is working, that's when I start really focusing my attention up here and seeing, okay, I know it sounds good because that's what I cut. And then I'm watching it combined. What do you guys do? So look at the timeline, and then I'm looking at the timeline to hear how it sounds. So you're looking to hear how it sounds. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So it's a natural way, and that's why having the audio waveform is crucial. And I can see why so many people are frustrated because it won't update the audio waveform fast enough in Final Cut 10.
Master. And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut is the...
It feels weird. I always felt weird that I'm always looking at the edit. And I remember I was editing a documentary and I'm staring at the timeline and the producer was sitting with me and they're like, why did you leave that shot in? I was like, what shot? And I looked up, I was like, oh my God, it's just this person doing something that was completely weird in the background. It's like, I didn't even notice it because I was paying attention to the audio edit. Yeah. And the reason I feel that it's important to make sure that the audio sounds good, because if you can get the audio to flow, the visuals will flow naturally because of it. And you can always add visuals on top of it. Whereas if it doesn't sound good, it doesn't matter how much videos, it doesn't matter how many visuals you put on top of it, that audio will stick out so badly. I kind of proved that point where audio is so important to a video, mainly because people listen to people listen to audio podcasts, but I don't know anybody that watches silent anything anymore. And if they are watching something silent, is because they have the they have the transcript of what's being said. So, but if you don't have any transcripts, if there's nothing to read, then you don't understand. But you can watch a completely black screen and have a good time. Yeah, you got to make sure it sounds good. That's right. You cover it with some golden B-roll.
And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut is the app that I open time and time again to get work done. And after nearly 20 years of editing, Final Cut is the app that I open time and time again. And after nearly 20 years of editing,
don't need this.
And after nearly 20 working with Final Cut, and I am trained on all. And after
I'm stuck on this part. Got to get out of this part.
Is the app that I open
Right,
time and time again to get work done fast. Working with Final Cut is also like having an assistant editor, importing and organizing. Working with Final Cut is like having an assistant editor with you at all times, importing and organizing your footage. And as an editor, one of the best habits to get into early on is organizing that footage. And this is Final Cut Pros, and this is Final Cut's, and this is one of Final Cut's real strengths. It really helps out doing the edit. It can find people. This is one of Final Cut's.
That's not a silent video anymore, is it? Yeah, sound design. Sound is so important. I would say it's 50%. Try to watch any movie, like even the best blockbuster movie, the best looking movie, and turn off the sound. See how far you get into that movie. You won't. But I bet you can watch or listen to a 3-hour podcast just with your eyes closed. That's the power of sound. I would say it's like 90% of a great experience.
Organizing that footage. And this is one of Final Cut's real strengths. It really helps out before the edit. It can find people, it'll organize your shots with the number of people in it. It can tell if it's a close-up, medium shot, or wide shot. And the clips that you organize yourself are easily found or searched for with keywords or tags. Even making your selections within clips becomes super organized and convenient to find. Even making your selections within clips becomes super organized and convenient to find. Even making your selections within clips becomes super easy.
See, that's one of the things I love about using Time Bolt is that all those things are already clipped, and I just need to find the one that works best, and I can move on to the next section. I can't recommend that application.
Even making your own
so
selections
simple
within
what it
clips
does, but
becomes
it's
super
great.
organized and convenient to find with favorites. Even making your own selections with favorites. Even making your own selections within clips becomes super organized and convenient to find with favorites. And you can have multiple favorites within a single clip. Or show up as
Get that out of here.
in a single clip and you can even have multiple favorites. And you can have multiple favorites within a single clip and you can even have multiple favorites from one clip, and you can even have multiple clips and you can even have multiple favorites from a single clip. And you can even have multiple clips, and you can even have multiple favorites from a single clip as individually single clip as individually organized
Yeah, I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry, guys.
favorites, and you can even have multiple favorites from a single clip as individually organized as individual.
Yeah. So, at what point when you're recording, do you find yourself getting tired and like needing to take a break? Do you guys kind of plow through it until you finish it? Have you ever stopped a recording session and come back to it later? Yeah, absolutely. Even silent films in the 20s had organ players along with the silent film. Yeah, they're playing music and they're trying to get the emotion. Audio is such an important part. So it's never been a silent film. There's always been a way to communicate audio.
Single clip as individually organized shots within your organized individual.
Me drumming.
Or as individually organized shots as organized individual shots. The magnetic.
And it's interesting because when I'm reading the script or when I'm even going off cuff, the moment I say a line is the moment I know if I've done the emphasis correctly. It may not be perfect, but I just know that, like, oh no, I need to have the end of the sentence not to go up and do all that kind of stuff. Like you can hear it, especially if you've done it enough. So you plow through an edit. You plow through it if my computer didn't need break. Oh, there you go. Yeah. What are you getting? Are you going to be getting a new computer? What's on the menu? Are you going to wait until the fall? But yeah, I think this is going to be a big week. You may need to make a decision.
Single clip as individually organized shots within your as organized individual shots. The single clip as individually organized shots within your as organized individual shots. The from a single clip as organized individual from a single clip as organized individual.
So after I would do the edit, the bass edit, I would go back and just watch it, and then I would start adding in the breaths, the time, really listen to make sure that it feels good. Yeah, I've been there. Yes, I've had things happen that change my mood and I don't want to record. I've had that plenty of times where just it's bad mojo, you just don't want it. But I know it's a weird thing that happens because even if I do get in a bad mood and like 30 minutes later, I'll jump back into it and have that energy back because I know how I feel after I do an edit a record session. I always feel good that I've done it because then it's just like, oh, now we're on to the editing part. The third opportunity to craft that little story. Yeah, I'm very tempted to start doing little short films and just do behind the scenes, just to be a kid again, just to play and have fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that kind of stuff. But let me get through the wave of work that is kind of plowing over me right now. That's why I've been so behind on a lot of the videos. Yeah, depending on what is unveiled on the 8th will determine if I get a laptop or a new Pro Mini. I'm in the exact same boat. If they do drop a Mac Mini Pro with the M1 Max internals, I'll probably get that instead of a laptop for now to kind of tide me over. Like I'd rather put more into the RAM, into the SSD. I don't need a monitor. And I have a laptop if I need to travel to do simple stuff. I don't need a laptop that is so dynamic and fantastic right now, because traveling is still, I have nothing booked for this entire year ahead where I need to do any kind of traveling. And if I did, well, one off would be fine. But I used to travel so much and do work that would be like, I need to have that because that's the kind of work that I'll be doing. But I would rather have a desktop with more ports and more power and more storage, like get the 2 terabyte or the 4 terabyte model, just something that I can use right now, and then wait until probably December or early 2023, January, February, by the time they become available. Because I know the moment any of these things drop, they're instantly bought out by all the review tech tubers, and that's where the first bulk of them go. And there's clients, there's actual people that buy them. So me ordering something immediately when it's announced for the Mac Pro, if it's going to be as amazing as it is, it's like, even if I ordered that first day, I'm pretty sure it'll take 2 months for it to arrive. But I don't like doing that. And because depending on how they actually build the machine, if it's going to be modular, that would be fantastic. That's the one I would want, because I'd want to be able to put in extra PCE slots, PCE, whatever. I'm not a computer guy, but yeah, I'd want to be able to put in capture cards or that kind of stuff into the machine, not have dongles sticking out of the back of the machine, because that's the way I've been working. That's the way I'd like to continue working. But for the meantime, I could do dongles. I can do that. Now, I know that majority of people aren't in my position. They wouldn't need that kind of stuff. So, but a Mac Mini with all that goodness, it'd be hard to pass up, especially seeing how people have reacted to the M1 Max in the community and with the apps that I've been using.
From a single clip as organized individual shots. The magnetic timeline is one of those concepts that when it clicks with you, it's really hard to go back to standard track bed. And
yeah, this one.
Speed at which you can make single clip as organized individual shots. The magnetic timeline is one of those concepts that once it's clicked with you, it's really hard to go back to standard track-based editing. The speed at which you can make fine-tune edits with minimal clicks, moving clips around, or whole clips around, moving clips around or whole sections around with ease, moving clips around or whole sections, moving clips around or whole sections around with ease. Connected clips is amazing. Learning connected. Once you understand connected clips, connected clips or whole sections around with ease. Or whole sections around with ease. Connected clips is amazing. Around these, once you understand connected clips and learning the keyboard shortcut. Once you understand connected clips, they are amazing. And learning the keyboard shortcuts is the key to get the most out of the magnetic timeline. It's not necessary, but it really does.
Let's get some stuff up in here, shall we? You understand what that means in a second. Boom. Whoa. Too loud. There we go. Let me know if that's too loud.
It really does speed up the... It's not necessary, but it really does... It's not necessary, but it really does speed up the... It's not necessary, but it really does speed up an already fast process. I made a whole... I made a whole... Made a whole overview video on how to use the magnetic timeline, so make sure you check that out. The link is in the description. Description. The color and...
Now, let me know if you guys have ever done this, because when I was recording, I think this video, I forgot to press record, or maybe I pressed record twice. That's why I was checking the second time. Am I actually recording this? Have you guys done that where you're just forgot your record button? But if you guys have any specific questions about Final Cut Pro,
color and
let me know.
audio tools are exactly what they need to be. The color and audio tools are exactly what they need to be.
So after I would do the entire edit, that's when I would go in and add in either title cards between sections or add pauses to really let an idea flow. Because I made the mistake before, especially in the timeline video, where I rushed through it so fast that it just became this crazy fast video. And people were like, wow, you really didn't want to make that video. Which I thought was hilarious because they were true. They were right. Give me 1 second. Turn on the light again. But I will say that my workflow for YouTube and client work is not crazy different, but I do think about it differently. Like, I almost wouldn't use TimeBolt with client work, because I would want to look for those moments where the person has that pause, that breath. Because if it's an interview, then you want them responding to the question that's being asked. Or sometimes they do like a simple look where you could use that moment. So having all those silences cut out isn't necessarily a good thing in that case, because depending on the video that you're working on, you may need to have those silences. You may need to use those kind of moments. So yeah, but TimeBolt is really good if you're doing a live stream and you need to cut out those silent bits, the silent parts. They have a whole but they have a whole workflow for multicam use, which is again, it's a great little tool if you need to speed up and you're doing this thing constantly over and over and over again. Like YouTube videos, we do it. I'm making these constantly.
The color.
And it's not about an end game. It's not about the end of, like, when is it going to get finished? No, I'm planning on making these videos. Just keep making them. Because I know when someone stumbles across my channel and they find it for that first time, they have this moment where like, oh, that was really helpful. And that makes me feel good. Like, it's a video that I made 2 years ago and people still find it helpful. So I don't know who in the future is going to find my videos helpful, but I know that when I find videos that are helpful for me, I'm very thankful that it was available. So I'm just gonna keep doing that. And it's like, sometimes it's like, hey, I'm finding this really helpful right now. This is a workflow that I do. If not, then I'll do it in a way where it's like, this is what I wish I knew 3 years ago. So it's all those little things where, and I don't know if there are other videos out there like the ones that I'm doing. And I try not to do too much research on what's out there. I just know that this is helpful and this helped me. So if I put it out there, it may not be the most popular video right now, and it's not going to be that banger where it gets, 150,000 views. But I know that a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel, they have that same mindset where it's just like, what's going to help me get the thing that I need done now? What are the trusted tips and the tested tips and the tested tools and the proven processes that actually work, that I've found work well? My wife and I were having a discussion earlier where we want to do all these home improvements to the house, but we've only been here for about 2 years, and only now have we figured out how we use the house. It's only now how we realized that, oh, we want to put stuff here. That the kids use this area a lot. Like they really gravitate in that spot and they want to do stuff here. In the backyard, this is how we want to do stuff. So it's the same with any piece of tech or application. It's just like the way the company intends for something to be used may not be the way that you end up using it that is actually convenient for you. So that's why I don't do my first impressions videos too often, or like, hey, I just got this, check it out, look at all the buttons, and because it's like that may not be the way I use it, and I may actually not like using it. Like even the first review that I did on a piece of tech on this channel was after I had a camera for 3 months. That's why I haven't done a review on the A7S, or sorry, the FX3 camera, because I've only now really understood how to use it. If I had done a video the moment I got it, I would have been like, oh, it's wrong, it's this, I can't do this. It's like, no, it's not the camera's problem. It was a user error. I wasn't using it. I was using it as though it was a Canon camera, where the waveform is a little bit different. That's really why I like the videos. It's like, okay, a year later, this is what is. Oh, look at that. Nice big fat super chat. Thanks, Gil. How's it going? Happy Sunday to you, my friend. You are always positive. Every day I open up Twitter, very first thing that I see is your bonjour, is your hello, is your good morning. So thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Doing home improvements. That's right. Home improvements are, my wife and I have plans, and I like when we start to really focus in on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and we're both lined up. Those are the best moments, and so we're getting excited about this summer. We have a whole bunch of plans that we're ready to do. You just got to get there. Got to get past the big lump of work that is ahead of me over the next couple of months. Got to prepare my taxes, get all that out, and then after that, then we can start having some fun. We'll see what we do. Undecided. May do nothing, or may do a whole bunch of stuff. Undecided. Let's see how the next couple months go.
Are exactly what they need to be for the color and audio tools are exactly what they need to be for built-in effects. They don't seem complex, but they are.
That's right.
The color and audio tools are exactly what they need to be for built-in effects. They don't seem complex, but they are powerful. If you truly do require more,
and that's the one thing that I found that a lot of people with Final Cut, something that a lot of people with Final Cut always complain about is that it's not powerful enough. It's not strong enough. It doesn't have all the tools. It actually does have all the tools. It does have majority of the capabilities. They just are presented in a very simple way. That's a power to Final Cut. That's one of its strengths, is that just because on the surface it seems simple, but when you actually start digging into it, you can do so much. Yes, it's not node-based editing. It's layered. It has layers for its effects, and you can position those layers how you want. But the idea is the same. Just because it has layered effects, and then you can combine effects, like you can still do the same things, but it's not meant to be a full-on professional color grading suite. But can you do full-on professional color grading? Yeah, you can do masks, you can do that, and then with one plugin, it takes it up another level. And if you really, really need to do that kind of high level caliber stuff, then you must be working on some Hollywood amazing, you know, projects that to require that. And at that point, if I was doing that, at that point, I'd be sending my XML to a colorist to finesse it to that kind of to that kind of caliber. But for me, it's just like I'm a one-man show when it comes to these kind of videos. This is the program that I love jumping into because I can get in there, quickly edit, move stuff around, because I'm comfortable knowing what I want to get out of it. I just want to be able to work as fast as I can think, not wait for the, you know, have 4 steps when one will do. It's the same with the writing, right?
Effects. They don't seem complex, but they are powerful. If you
So, yeah, what kind of home improvements are you guys doing right now? Let me know. Let me know. Share that. What's the weekend project you guys are working on? Is it a weekend project? Is it a long-term project? Is it the one that's started a weekend and now you're 4 weeks into it? Let me know. Oops. No. What happened? I don't know. I ran into this before. With Ecamm, something happens where the audio craps out for some reason. Let me quit that.
software and hardware,
there you
is
go.
No match on the Mac for on some really Hollywood.
Oh no. Looks like Final Cut does not like it again. It's something to do with...
Hardware, there is no it's speed.
Oh, it's the screen sharing. That's interesting.
There is no it's speed. There is no
it's
speed. There is no it's speed. And hardware, there for me the technical there for me the technical there for me the tech technicals have always been the biggest block to learn.
Let's see. Quit that. Nothing else to quit. Loop back. Nope. Not that. Wow, changing the toilets upstairs, trimming trees, fixing doors, door fixtures, and rearranging furniture. Yeah, we need some new rearranging furnitures too. Look at that, editing an Ecamm video. Doc Rock in the house. How's it going? All right.
The speed at which you can make.
Okay, so that's okay. Let's see if I can get this to work again.
The speed at which you can make fine-tune edits with minimal click.
So, Doc, because you're here, apparently something with the screen sharing in Ecamm breaks Final Cut. Yes, I'm using the beta, so I live dangerously, just like you. So I had to get out of the screen share, restart Final Cut, and then it worked again. The more you know. Where are we?
Definitely not. And even then, and if you still need more precise
There we go. That's where we were. Let's get back into the edit.
tools than that, and if you still more precise tools than that, and if you still need more precise tools, and if you still need more RX app, and if you still need more precise tools, and if you still need more more precise tools than that, and if you still
Oh, wow. Thanks, Doc. Thank you. That is very nice. Those are nice treats. Those are nice treats. Making me motivated to edit. Showing up on your streams. You know what? I have to say that I love the community that is built around. It's actually very, very. It's how do I? It's the Ecamm fam, and then you got the Final Cut fam, and that's why I'm leaning more towards the Final Cut tutorials and doing that kind of stuff, because I enjoy being able to help people. Because a lot of the people that are in the DaVinci and Premiere, they're really good. And a lot of the questions that I was getting are PC based. Like, oh, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And I can't help answer those questions. So, but Doc, thank you for the, no, you rock. No, literally, you rock. But yeah, have you guys ever found that where if you're Mac based, do you get questions for you guys that do YouTube videos? Do you guys get questions about PC and you're like, sorry, dude, I can't help you. I don't even know where to start. But then you point them in the direction of people that can. I think that's why I kind of stepped away from the Premiere tutorials and the DaVinci tutorials. Even though those have done very well on my channel, I just can't help with so many of those questions that kept popping up that the codec wasn't working. They were able to do that. And it's just something that comes down from, yeah. You help them by telling them to get a Mac. Very true. Very true. And how many YouTubers are now jumping off the PC train and going back to Macs after they switched? It was a quick turnaround for a lot of those guys. Yeah. Living in beta. Well, I live in beta all the time using Adobe products, constantly in beta. I don't think they've had a full release that wasn't buggy, that wasn't out of beta. Nice. You're bisexual. I worked on a PC for 3 years solid when I was working with the hologram company. That's all they had. And I would just bring in my laptop and work on that because I didn't want to deal with having the PC break. I would just then save it and then bring the project over onto the PC, like in After Effects or Premiere, and let it render there. Like just take the hard drive. I just didn't like it. And like Quick Look, I can't get rid of Quick Look. Or like the little things that Macs are able to do that PCs just don't do very well. There's plugins, there's all that kind of stuff. So I have a script ready to go that talks about if you don't need to buy the latest and greatest in Mac tech, even iPads, make sure you check out the refurbished store. They usually have one for most stores, like Apple, like for the US, for Canada, for the European Union. You can get iPads for like $300-$400 off that are either brand new or like 1 year model, and it's crazy. You get the same warranty. You can add Apple Care. Not only that, it's the only difference between the refurbished site and buying something at full price is that it makes one extra stop before it gets to you. It means that it went from the factory, something didn't check out right. They send it to an Apple certified technician who literally tears it down, replaces any parts that aren't working, fixes it, cleans it, everything, then sends it to you. So it's like a brand new machine that was built, sent to an Apple specialist. It gets fixed and double checked, and then only then gets sent on to you for less money. So it's like, imagine buying a brand new car. It gets sent to a dealership, it gets detailed, and then it gets sent to you. That's the one you'd want, wouldn't it? But you didn't lose anything. Final Cut crashed, but you didn't lose anything. Yeah, so Gil, just make sure you don't worry about that. Nightbot is an AI bot that is trying to do stuff. I don't know if you... Yeah, so Nightbot doesn't like a lot of emojis or something that looks spammy, because those kind of... I can see your comment. I don't know if it... Yeah, don't get flagged. There's a ban button here. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get back to editing before Final Cut crashes again. Oh, yeah, absolutely. On the Refurbished store this week, like, watch Mac Minis kind of just flood that that section, because if they release a new M2 Mac Mini and a Mac Mini Pro, no one's going to be wanting to buy those. So you may get a lot of stuff put onto that store, especially if they discontinue it. That's where all the inventory goes, onto that site. So if you're looking for a deal, probably the next 2 weeks is going to be one of the best places to get those kind of deals. That's right.
And if you still need more precise tools than that, and if you still need more precise tools, and if you still need more precise tools, then you must be working on some really, and if you still need more, and if you still the standalone RX app, and if you still need more, and if you still need more precise tools, then you must be working on some really high-level Hollywood shit. And if you still need more precise tools than that, then you must be working on some Hollywood-level shit.
Shit, that's right. Okay, I like the other one. I'm gonna beep it out. So do you guys want to know how to make your own beep tone?
Then you must be working on some Hollywood shit.
There you go. So ready? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make my own beep tone. So you don't need to find it. Yeah, the 1K, 1 kilohertz tone. That's right.
Hollywood shit. Hollywood shit.
So you duplicate your audio. I'm just going to attach the audio, so I don't need that. And then you grab the what's the effect? Does anyone know the effect? You go to audio, and it's the test oscillator. Boom. There you go.
Hollywood shit. And if you
That's it. Simple as that.
Hollywood.
I'm probably gonna put
Hollywood. And if you
So yeah, you want the test oscillator, and there you go. That's how you create the one kilohertz tone. You can actually set the tone frequency. So you can do white noise, you can do pink noise, square wave, but you want the sine wave for most of that stuff. That's it. That's how you do. You choose what you want. You got a test tone. Boom. There you go. Oops. What happened here? Yeah, see, it happened again. There it is. I have to get out of...
Precise tools in that, then you level Hollywood. And if you level Hollywood,
You leave the bad words. Your streams are full of bad words.
high level Hollywood. And if you
So now I want to bring in, should I put a black bar over my face? There we go. We're going to bring in the SMPTE bars. Boom. SMPTE bars. Drag it over top. There we go. Gonna cut that. And we're going to scale that down so it's just over my face. And I want to move it, so I'm going to hit the transform tool.
high level Hollywood. And if you still
That's it. And that's how you mask out your own swear words.
high level Hollywood. And if you
So yeah, here now because we have this, I'm gonna bring this in because I wanted to show you this earlier, but I didn't have this clip. So we're gonna open up our color Vectorscope and the waveform monitor, and we're just gonna grab the crop tool. So if you look here, you can see where all the colors are getting into the red, magenta, blue, cyan, green, and then you see these that are pushing beyond. And if I just crop, oops, I gotta turn the one below off. So these colors, if you have a proper SMPTE color chart for video, this actually means 70% saturation. Or 70%, yeah, 70% saturation. Up here is 100% saturation. So this is how you read this Vectorscope. So let me just, I'm going to turn off. I'm going to have just one big one so you guys can see it. So this is 70%. So these colors, so this red right here is 70% saturated red. That's what that means. So when you're working with that, you know that if I was to take this and start adding saturation to it, so let's add some wheels, and if I add, oops, I said wheels. So if you add some saturation to the entire thing and you push it towards red, which is up into the left a little bit, you can see how that starts moving that red. And if you just crop out just the red, oops, and if you start moving that up, now we're getting to 100% saturation on that red. So that's how you read this chart. But then you may be asking, like, well, then what is that? Why is it going up into those corners? Well, that is these here, that yellow, that cyan, the blue, and the red. That is 100% saturation. I don't know if it's technically 100%, but this is an image that I got off the internet. But yeah, that's how you read this chart. That's why it's important. It's important to understand it, because when you start color grading and these are beyond, then you know that you're starting to work, your colors are starting to get funky. And if, like I said, if I made this whole thing black and white in my monitor, or it's off or it's on night mode, like if I switch it to night mode, these colors won't actually change. You probably won't see the colors change anyways. But now the computer's in night mode and it happens automatically. So you may walk away and then come back and everything looks normal. But then when you start color grading, you're trying to color grade based on the monitor and your eyes, and they're always going to lie to you. And I know you've seen the illusions that just mess with your brain. And you're like, I know what I'm looking at is an illusion, but your brain just still sees it the wrong way. And that's so true with color. And that's why it is important to not get fooled. Don't trust your eyes, especially when you start getting tired and you know you don't have a calibrated monitor. You don't need a calibrated monitor. You don't need a $5,000 monitor if you aren't working on critical, those kind of high-end projects that require that, where you're sitting there and everyone walks in and they can confirm, yes, it all looks good. Because not everyone is going to be able to understand what the color chart is, or not the color, but the vectorscopes or the lumiscopes. So in those cases, when a whole bunch of people walk in and you're like, the skin is pink and it's a calibrated monitor, okay, maybe you should check it with but you'll be able to go in and check your skin tone indicator and know if it is pink, if it is leaning towards the red, or if it's a bit green and leaning towards the yellow and the green. All right, color lesson 2 over for this session. Okay, let's get rid of the color charts. Don't need them right now.
Then you
Good morning, Bailey. How's it going? Happy Monday to you. Oh, it's early.
must be working on some really high-level Hollywood. And if you still need more precise tools than that, then you must be working on some dope Hollywood level shit.
Shit. Which one worked better? Let's see. Sorry. So yeah, if you ever need to copy and paste, just press the Option key, select the ones that you want. Press the Option key, move it over, and now you have a duplicate.
And if you still need more precise tools than that, then you must be working on some dope Hollywood then you must be working on some.
No, I like the other one better. Boom. Move on.
And if you still need more precise
Did it
tools
again.
than that, then you must be working on some high-level Hollywood. Then you must be working.
No.
And even then, you can. And even then.
So here's a bonus tip. If you do have swear words in your videos, try not to have them in the first minute, because YouTube will, that's where it analyzes most of the video, and it really tries to, and that's where it'll do any dictations and it'll flag it as inappropriate. Bailey, again, apologies. Nightbot is flagging it. It doesn't like too many emojis. So if you put emojis in there, hey, all. Oh, or double words. But yeah, I see your comment. It's all good. I'm going to put it back up there. I got to figure out the settings for Nightbot is brutal. Yeah. But thus far, there hasn't been any nuttiness that I think. So it's been pretty good. It's been a good stream. But yeah, how's your Monday, Bailey? Let me know.
You can, and even then, you can, and even then.
Yeah, Nightbot does need to chill out.
Even then, you can export most of the projects to high-end finishing tools, and I have done that many times with top level, and I've done that many times and finishing tools, and I've done that many times, and I've done that with, and I've done that and finishing tools, and I've done that many times with top level artists, and I've done that many times when top level artists are brought in to finish and refine the projects. And the only app out there right now that could handle a project of that kind of caliber, and the only app out there right now that I believe could handle that caliber of project is Blackmagic. That caliber of project is Blackmagic Designs DaVinci.
I'm a big fan of Blackmagic Design, but again, if I had to choose, I would choose Final Cut Pro as a single. Bailey Stone was timed out by Nightbot for 5 seconds. I'm sorry, man. I don't use Nightbot. No, just the last time I did a stream, it went nutty, and I spent more time banning crazy comments. So I'm just testing it out. This is the second stream that I'm testing it out. Let's see how it goes. If it's too much, I may get rid of it. All right, get back to it.
Number of project is Blackmagic Design's DaVinci Resolve, but the learning and the projects, and the only app out there right now that I believe could handle that caliber of project is Blackmagic Design's DaVinci Resolve. But the learning curve is huge on huge on that program. But the learning curve is massive on that program. But the learning curve is massive. Resolve. But the learning curve is massive on that program. Definitely not ease of use right out of the box. As an editor these days, you
Nice. Ecamm, you're making it. Oh, it's bright in here. Wow.
make the viewer, and as it like zoom in, slides, transitions, focuses, and as an editor.
Yeah, after the stream, we're all going to be DaVinci pros. That's the way it's going to get. That's the way it's going to work out. That's fine. I'll leave that the way it is. Got bright in my room. The sun peeked through. But if you have any questions about Final Cut, let me know. I'm still debating. I have a wait list for enhanced Final Cut course that I'm thinking about making. I'm not there yet. I'm not convinced that it's something that is needed. Yeah, one of the blinds opened up, and this is the time of day where the sun beams directly in and bounces off of the glass next door, and so it just the whole room lights up. For majority of the projects I work on, yes, because I do need to move them between computers. So I find that it's a lot easier to edit from an SSD. I've used the Samsung T7. Those are pretty fast. But when I'm working with like 6K or 8K footage, especially red, I do work internally because the actual hard drives inside, the SSDs that are inside, are much faster than the external SSDs. And I know I can buy the enclosure, but I don't want to use the Thunderbolt or USB 3 as the bottleneck to edit, to transfer as fast. And I know that I could do it off of a NAS with 10 gigabits, but I just like having it internal for the bigger projects. So I'm using Ecamm. Ecamm, the screen sharing feature, the fact that I have it all up right now, that is causing an issue because I'm using the beta version. I don't know if that could be something that is causing it. But yeah, the moment I go out of screen sharing and then come back into it, everything goes back up.
And it doesn't require you, and it does.
Yeah, because that happened to me last time and I couldn't figure it out. But the moment I went out of the screen sharing and then popped back in, it seemed to work.
To that project. Final Cut Pro.
Here, let's turn down that. Oh, now my face is dark. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the machine. It seems to be the app, and I can't restart Ecamm. So yeah, I guess it could be a memory leak. It could be something like that. But it's definitely trying to record the screen while I'm editing. So maybe it's the graphics card. But again, the moment I pop out of screen sharing, it doesn't do that. And it's never happened when I was doing a screen recording. So that's an interesting thing. Screen share overlay. I'm gonna have to build a new. We don't not leak memory. That's right. Plug the leak. Yeah. Matthew, I would say, has a really good setup for his editing process right now, and he's been doing it quite a bit. If you guys haven't checked out Matthew's channel, make sure you do, because he has like some of the best Final Cut tutorials you can get out there, and he's really focused on it. So it's great. So make sure you check him out. Okay, let's try that. Let's create a new scene. Nope, I don't want imaging edge. So I want my camera. Cool. But I don't want my camera. I want, what do I want? I want an overlay. So I need to add an overlay, which is a screen share. But I want it to be full screen. How do I go full screen? Can I do entire screen? Cool. No current application. Final Cut. Cool. Zoom to app window. Yes. Activate system audio capture. Do I want that? Yeah. I guess no. I don't need to do that. Green screen? No. Screen aspect. And I don't want any curved. And I don't want a border. So then I would have to scale it up. Is that what you're telling me? So bring it here, scale it back. But I don't want the video. Does that make sense, Doc? How do I get rid of... So question, how do I get rid of the... Can I get rid of that camera? So what do I do there? This is supposed to be a Final Cut. Grab this 16, yes. Audio capture, so we can hear the timeline. But I have the audio capture coming through the Wavelink system audio, so I can actually control the volume of it. That's why I'm not doing that. So I have that. No camera. I can turn it off. Command-Shift-B. Command-Shift-B. Ooh, fancy. Okay. Now, if you guys have not subscribed to Doc Rock, I know you guys know who Doc Rock is. Okay, so now I can do an overlay. So I'm going to go to this screen. I'm going to copy that, bring it over to the screen capture, paste it in here. Boom! Okay. We're all here to learn. That's right. Okay, so I feel that that is better. So I'm going to remove that hotkey so I can go back to that. So I have my wide, and then I have my screen share. Boom, and I pop up. I love these little animations. Okay, cool. So now there's nothing behind that. Do I need system audio? Do I need to turn that on? Okay, let me know if this works.
And customize them to that project. Final Cut Pro.
Did you guys hear the timeline? Did you hear double timeline? You have no idea how much I've bugged Doc Rock on just Ecamm stuff, and I bugged all the Ecamm guys. I'm like, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do this, give me this feature, and they're like, calm down, relax. It does amazingly good things. Like Ecamm is such a, it's a broadcast studio in a box, and that's why I like using it over OBS or even StreamYard. The one good thing that StreamYard has is you can bring in 10 people. Ecamm can do 5 people that you can bring in, but like StreamYard is brutal. It's just brutal to work with. Like you can't do the kind of creative stuff that I'm doing here. You can't customize it. Like what they give you is what you get. You can't scale any of the titles. You can't do. I've even reached out to them and I said, "Can we do this?" Because there's sometimes I want to do a multi-panel show, which will require StreamYard. But they're like, "No, we're not doing that." Cool. I'm going to use Zoom next time. Yeah, let it go by itself. Otherwise, it's always something up. Great. Is there an ability to do more than 10 people? Is that what you're saying? That a StreamYard competitor may be doing? I hope so. That'd be fantastic. If we can do that. Oh, so Doc, because I know you have the Ecamm ear, I want to be able to do this. Oh, why? Where did it go? That's not fair. My countdown is gone. Anyway, okay. Anyways, I'm out of here. Let's go back. Let's go back to some editing, shall we? Yeah, Ecamm memory leaks. I didn't hear nothing.
Final Cut Pro.
We're talking about Final Cut Pro here. Yeah, so I want to be able to, okay, let's go back to it for 1 second. So I have a countdown. A countdown, I don't know why it's not showing up for me here, but can I drop it in? No, for some reason it's not. Command-Shift-B. Nope, that's not what I want to do. How do I bring it back? Oh, I got to click it. There you go. So then I want to do an overlay. So I want to show you something that I want to do. I want to show you, I want to be able to do this. Countdown overlay, not that one. Give me a second. Countdown teal, darker, cool. So I want to be able to do so I want to be able to do this. Let me know if this is possible. So I want to, when I do my curated live stream, I want to be able to blur out the camera without having to turn off the, I want to be able to do this, but in Ecamm. So that way when it transitions to the next screen, I want to be able to camera is Command L. Cool. But yeah, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to blur out the camera behind this overlay. And I actually have to create an alpha channeled video to be able to create this color overlay. Is there a way where we can do blending modes? That would be fantastic as well. So let's get out of this. Let's get back to Final Cut. Doc, you rock. And so if you guys haven't signed up for Ecamm, has a whole suite of events happening on the 14th. Make sure you check it out. Make sure that you go and check out all that stuff. They're doing a whole bunch of, I think, giveaways. They're doing live streams all week where they're going to tell you all about Ecamm, which is the application that I'm using that I think pretty much everyone in this chat is using. It's a fantastic tool. Okay, let's get back to some editing. I keep saying that, but... All right. Like, it's such a good application. Ecamm and Final Cut. And now they're working together synergistically. And yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Give me a thumbs up.
And I've done that many times when top-level artists are brought in to finish and refine the projects. And the only app out there right now that I believe could handle that caliber of project is Blackmagic Design's DaVinci Resolve. But the learning curve is massive on that program. Definitely not ease of use right out of the box. As an editor these days,
well, that's why I ended up doing this, because I knew I wanted to do a stream. I haven't been active on socials at all for the last 6 weeks. I think I did like a 1 minute little compilation video. But yeah, I wanted to edit this video and hang out.
That caliber of project is Blackmagic.
Because I missed your faces.
But
Like literally, I see your faces here, and I see you on the other side.
Not ease of use right out of the box. As an editor these days, you are required to add motion graphics to your projects, and quickly, and customize them to...
Yep, oh, that's what I wanted. Copy that to let people know what we're working on. Bam.
that project. Final Cut Pro has one graphics to your projects, and quickly, and customize them to that project. Final Cut Pro has by far one of the best extensive suite of easy-to-use plugins that are designed for editors.
Now it's using multiple emojis. That Nightbot kind of goes all crazy. And if it's more than one, or if it's double, I think double is the thing that people
Final Cut Pro has by far
get flagged for.
Extensive suite of easy-to-use plugins that are designed for editors to elevate any project, and it doesn't require you. To learn another software to get it working. For example, Motion VFX is my go-to motion graphics for Motion VFX to get it working. Motion VFX is my go-to for motion graphics like callouts, title animations, and ways to manipulate.
Yeah, the other thing that the other reason I love Final Cut, and this is what this whole section kind of goes into, is I've met so many editors that learned Premiere and they become really good at it, and then it's time for them to start adding. A lot of clients started asking them like, "Oh, I need to add motion graphics to the edit," but they didn't have a budget for it, or they don't have access to getting another editor. And so their first step was to go to Video Hive and just buy a template and try to figure it out. But most of those templates were in After Effects, and now they have to learn After Effects. And only recently has Premiere copied Final Cut, where now they have Mogurts, but it's painful to use them. Like, well, for me at least personally, I don't like using the Mogurts, the templates that they have. They do the same thing, but the amount of control isn't there, or at least it hasn't caught up to it. So a lot of people that are building those haven't built them in a way, and you're still buying them from Video Hive, so they're like one-offs. They're not coming from a place that understands how to build these things, where Motion VFX has built them based around this whole integration of motion and Final Cut. So they thought of how someone will use this application.
Motion VFX is my go-to for motion graphics like callouts, title animations, or waves.
And I don't just use the standard one. I plop it on the timeline and just go. I usually stack like 4 or 5 of them together, because I've used them in a way that wasn't intended, but probably isn't going to be used by someone else as well. So even for my intro, that's like 5 or 6 effects stacked together, making it work. So even if someone was to use the same thing, it looks similar, they won't be able to recreate exactly what I've created unless they take the exact same effects, compile them together.
To get it working. Motion VFX is my go-to for motion graphics like callouts, title animations, or ways to manipulate your footage, like zoom-ins, slides, transitions, focuses. And as an editor, it's your job to make the viewer, and as editor, it's your job to make sure that the viewer is looking where you want them to be. And these plugins are drag and drop and very customizable. Drag and drop and very customizable. And they look great and are well designed. And they look great and are very well designed. Anything but simple. And even the newly updated M Tracker 2 allows you to add very complex animations with a few clicks. And even the M Tracker the newly updated M Tracker 2 allows you to add very complex animations with a few clicks, and not need a degree in motion graphics, and not need a degree in motion graphics, and not need a degree in motion design.
So we started last night. We started watching Spider-Man, the very first one from 2002, with my daughter because we're excited to watch the latest version or the latest No Way Home. We haven't seen that movie yet, but my daughter has seen Homecoming and Far From Home. But I know that the movie that's coming out next is going to bring and tie in all the previous Spider-Man, so I want her to have a good understanding and get excited about that, because I know when moments come up in the movies that tie back to older movies, she gets really excited. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, we started that. And it actually holds up pretty good, the first Spider-Man. I haven't seen it in many, many years. But yeah, it's still pretty good. But it's definitely campy, and it has that Sam Raimi kind of vibe. But it did get me excited about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is also directed by Sam Raimi. So it's going to be great to see a 20-year evolution of Sam Raimi from Spider-Man into Multiverse of Madness. So, question, are you going over your talking points again out of perceived mistakes, or just to give yourself more variety afterwards to pick from? I actually, both. Sometimes I make a mistake, and other times I didn't put the emphasis in the right place, or I want to put the emphasis in a better place, not necessarily the wrong place. Because sometimes when I say the line, I hear how it should be, and then I'll re-say it again, even though I did say it correctly. So it's not just about saying it correctly, it's about where to put those pauses, about where to have the audience really understand as best you can what you're trying to talk about. And I'm not saying I'm a fantastic public speaker, but it's definitely has helped me become more confident in talking live. Yeah, I'm always taking mental notes as well, even when I talk with myself sometimes. Any thoughts about the Batman? Yeah, I'm excited about it. I remember when Christopher Nolan made the first Batman, and even that first one still felt campy. There was moments where it felt campy, but then as the trilogy progressed, it felt so grounded, and I feel that this one is more about Batman being a super detective than a hulking brute. And I know that there's that fine balance. Because, with no powers come no responsibilities. That should be Batman's tagline. Because he's rich. That's his superpower. With no powers come no responsibilities. But yeah, I like the Batman, the critical thinking Batman, the one that's like, he has mastered his body, but also his mind. So he doesn't necessarily rely solely on computers as what it felt like Bruce Wayne did, where he let the computers do most of the work. And this one it does feel like it's going to be a bit more grounded in reality, where he built all this stuff, because I have no idea how Batman can build the Batcave and all these great tools just by himself. Like, it's just like where would he find the time? He doesn't sleep. He's always vigilanting. That's right. With no powers comes no responsibility. Nope. Mr. Doc Rock, we are back to the same issue. Nope. Okay, let's get out of it again.
You are required to add motion to that project.
But yeah, I'm definitely more of a Marvel fan these days. Though I liked Man of Steel. I do wish that they do continue that storyline, because I liked how it was building, and I definitely liked. I'm a fan of Zack Snyder and his the world that he was building. I want to see where it goes. So. But I'm not a fan of any of the TV shows that DC was putting out. We haven't watched any of them, though. All the Marvel movies, like, it just feels like it's all part of the same world. Where even the multiverse feels like it's all part of the same world. Yeah, me too. I'm excited for it. I just need DC to make at least one good movie. I feel that the Batman is going to be good. I think that the care was put in there to make it. I haven't even watched or read any of the reviews. I want to go in cold turkey. I just want to watch it, not listen to other people's opinions. And that's the way I like watching it, because. And I usually watch a movie twice. The first time just to enjoy it, and the second time I kind of like, okay, let's enjoy this, but be critical and like actually see how it was made and see how it flows. Yeah, Batman does definitely do that. Bailey, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy school. Yeah, Brightburn, I haven't seen it yet. It's on my list. I got 3 kids. I don't got time for random movies that are rated. No, because kids always walk into the room, so I have to be careful on the types of movies that we watch. The tide will turn, though. I'm actually really excited about Multiverse of Madness. That movie just looks fantastic. And again, because Sam Raimi is directing it, and how well Spider-Man 1 has held up as just a movie with character development, I feel that Multiverse of Madness is just going to be a crazy, crazy good movie. Like, just enjoyable, I mean.
Quickly and definitely not ease of use right out of the box. As an editor these days, you are required to add motion graphics to your projects, and quickly.
Wait, did I?
The projects. And the only app out there right now that I believe could handle that caliber of project is Blackmagic Design's DaVinci Resolve. But the learning curve is massive on that program out of the box. As an editor these days, you are required to add motion graphics to your projects, and quickly, and customize them to that project. Final Cut Pro has by far one of the best extensive suite of easy-to-use plugins that are designed for editors to elevate any project. And it doesn't require you to learn another software to get it working. Motion VFX is my go-to for motion graphics like callouts, title animations, or ways to manipulate your footage, like zoom ins, slides, transitions, focuses. And as editor, it's your job to make sure that the viewer is looking where you want them to be. And these plugins are drag and drop and very customizable. And they look great and are very well designed. Anything but simple. And even the newly updated M-Tracker 2 allows you to add very complex animations with a few clicks and not need a degree in motion graphics. Final Cut also, instead of tracks,
Me and you both, and I'm pretty sure they have to introduce them soon. And this is the best way they can introduce them into the MCU. They don't have to pretend like they were always there, but then they just showed up. I think this is a great way for them to be there now. So how they're going to do that, I don't know, but they have to bring them in. So because they want Doctor Strange to interact with the mutants, and they need to bring in the next leaders, right? Like you have Cap is gone. You have Iron Man is gone. You have all these great characters that are gone out of the storyline. So you need new leaders. So who were the leaders of the Avengers in the comics? Those are the ones that are going to sneak in and start being the new leaders, and they can lead up to the next Civil War, the whole storyline where they kind of get two factions. Because I always found that the best villains in Marvel comics are the good guys when they're fighting the good guys, right? Like you have the big bads, like the Thanoses and the Galactus, and you have like all these big, sorry, I'm nerding out here. You have all these big bads, but like in Batman, you have Batman and then the Joker. You have Superman and who's his... Lex Luthor. You have those the main antagonist for the bad guys. Where in Marvel, you don't have like who's Iron Man's biggest antagonist? Like, sure, you can do Jebediah Crane or whatever his name is. Like Captain America is, I guess it's Red Skull, I guess, but like they don't have that. But when Captain goes against Iron Man, like that's like you don't know who to root for because both of them feel like they're right? Like, whereas in the DC universe, there's the good guy and there's the bad guy. So yeah, it's a different way to approach it. Like even their anti-heroes are like they're good guys and bad guys. It's not as clear as cut. Like how often is the Joker considered a good guy, right? So I think that's the line difference between DC and Marvel, is that the best storylines are the ones where they're fighting against each other, where they both feel they're right. And I guess that's more realistic in a world building view, where they do have a big common enemy where they have to come together and put their differences aside. But yeah, that's and it's like the same thing. Like the biggest difference between Star Wars and Star Trek is Star Trek is more like Navy battles, where Star Wars is more like dogfighting air battles, and Star Trek has time travel where Star Wars does not. So yeah, it's like you have those anchors. They're both space movies. They both have their empires and kind of like civilizations, but like one has things that the other just does not. It doesn't lean on those. Like where Star Trek always leans on time travel to solve the problem, where Star Wars is more like the Western dogfighting, like World War I, early World War II kind of fighting. So now I'm not only have I nerded out on MCU stuff, I went down the DC rabbit hole. I went down Star Wars and Star Trek. What else can we talk about?
Final Cut also, instead of track and not need a degree in motion graphics. Final Cut also, instead of tracks, Final Cut has graphics. Instead of tracks, Final Cut has something that, and instead of tracks, Final Cut has in motion graphics. Instead of tracks, Final Cut has rolls, which are arguably one of the most underrated tools in Final Cut. This is beyond colorized label organization. Yes, it does help separate in Final Cut. This is beyond colorized.
You mean Mandalorian 2.5? They should have called it the Mando show featuring Boba Fett. Because the moment Mando showed up in, I think it was like episode 4 or 5, and then the last 3 episodes were all based on Mando. It was fantastic. There was weird parts like the cyberpunk gang that felt like they were from Back to the Future, the skateboarders. That was kind of weird. But, you know, whatever. They're trying stuff. So, and I don't blame the actor who does Boba Fett. I can't remember his name. But I think he did a great job as he was directed to do, like as the character. But I feel they needed to rehabilitate Boba Fett's character in the Star Wars universe to have more good guys, because there's lots of bad guys, and because Mando is also a good guy and those guys look similar, I think they needed to anchor him on the good side. So they needed him to have that backstory that he has become good, and they can always go back to him to be that support character for Mando. That's really what it came down to. They needed someone that him and Mando play well off of. So he's going to be a good Mando sidekick moving forward. Will they have a Boba Fett season 2? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know what else they can do with his character on that world unless there's a bigger fight to be had. I would say I was disappointed with the fight that they were saying was coming, like the war. Like it felt like more like a street gang war, like a West Side Story, where it's like these 12 guys versus those 12 guys. Not anymore. True. But like, aren't Mandalores, aren't they based, aren't they kind of brought into the religion? It's more of a religion, not where they're born, even though there are people that are born. I don't know. We're going to have a Star Wars fight. Because he was a foundling, so he became... Let me get out of this.
Most underrated tools in Final Cut. Which are arguably one of the most underrated tools.
Yeah, man, I love it. My daughter's actually such a good illustrator. She's 10 and she's amazing. Her quality of work is better than me being at art school. It's just like she's crazy good. So she's already into comic books and yeah, man, it's all good. Home is where you want to be. Home is not a place. And you know what? Friends are the family that you choose. And so family is the people that love you the most, period.
And not need a degree in motion graphics. Instead of tracks, Final Cut has rolls, which are arguably one of the most underrated tools in Final Cut.
Did you guys know that after season 1 or season 2 Mandalorian, where season 2. So after Luke came out and ILM did all that thing and people had this backlash and like, oh, why did he look so fake? Do you know that a YouTuber or guy on YouTube posted a video of him doing deepfake that showed like how they could have done it and how he got Luke to look better? Do you know that ILM hired that guy to help on season 2? And because they did tests and they felt so confident, they did a whole episode with Luke Skywalker deepfaked and it looked fantastic. So that just goes to show you, if you have a way to do something better, know that people will be able to find you and they'll find your way to do it. Like, that's all. He just did a 1-minute video showing how deepfakes can do it. And he just knew how to do that thing. I thought that was fantastic.
Final Cut has roles, which are arguably one of the most underrated tools in Final Cut. This is beyond colorized label organization. Yes,
No, it wasn't.
Help separate visually what is colorized.
It wasn't the Corridor Digital guys. Look for a side-by-side Luke Skywalker video. That wasn't done by those guys. It was an independent guy. He just did it by himself, like a week after Shamuk. I don't know what his name was, but yeah, it wasn't the Corridor guys. It was someone else. But they hired that guy. Yeah, there you go. Shamuk, the YouTuber. But that's fantastic that they said you did it better than us. Single guy with his own computer running a janky code, because deepfakes at that point were still really, really janky. But he was able to figure out, he found that secret sauce. So they called him up, they contacted him, they hired him. So he went from doing that to working on that. And think Andrew Kramer, he went from doing After Effects tutorials to being hired by Bad Robot to work on the Star Trek movies. He did the whole opening for the Star Trek movies. And now the reason he doesn't do videos anymore is because his company is so busy doing visual effects of like the graphics and all that digital gack that comes on in so many things. That's what he's doing full time. So he just kind of started making videos for fun to put it out there. He made his own plugins and whatnot. And now he's doing that. So, but it's good. I'm glad for him because he was able to find an exit strategy from just continually doing that, the one thing that he was doing. But he's still working with After Effects and Cinema 4D and doing all that stuff.
Which are arguably one of the most underrated tools in Final Cut. This is beyond colorized label organization. Yes, it does help separate visually what is what, different types of footage or audio elements such as music, sound, effects, or dialogue. You can also search for similar items on your timeline. You can solo or disable similar.
Yep. One second. All right, let's get back to this edit.
And not need a degree in motion graphics. Instead of tracks, Final Cut has roles, which are arguably one of the most underrated tools in Final Cut.
I agree with that guy.
This is beyond colorized label organization. Yes, it does help separate visually what is what, different types of footage or audio elements such as music, sound, effects, or dialogue. You can also search.
If you guys aren't using roles to your advantage, you guys are missing out. It's one of the best organizational tools that Final Cut has, and people just ignore it.
Such as music, sound, effects, or dialogue.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
You can also sound effects or dialogue. You can also search for similar items on your timeline. You can solo or disable similar. You can solo items on your timeline. You can solo or disable similar. You can solo or disable.
Wow, didn't want to say that.
You can solo or disable similar items, or when the project gets big, or when the project gets big, you can isolate what you want to focus on without the rest of the clutter. You can also export those individual stems, which makes it easy for versioning.
If you guys haven't opened up the index panel on Final Cut Pro and haven't been using it, you are missing out. Like literally every clip in your timeline is there. You can search for it. So if you have an effect or a title, it'll be all here and you can actually isolate it. And it's so quick to find like, oh, did I use that? Where's that clip in the timeline? Especially if it's a long one. You can find all your tags that you've put in. You can put like all your markers. So if you have, if you organize this properly, and in this case, I haven't done that yet because I only have audio and I haven't put any B-roll into the edit. but you can find all those elements, and then you can also do the lanes. So the most underrated feature is lanes. And you know what I would love to be able to do? I would love to be able to see how we can do lanes, and boom, we can choose that. We can isolate it. Fantastic. Here, let me just move that up. You know what I'd love to be able to do? I don't have anything else in here, but I would love to be able to go grab an effect. So let's just say simple channel EQ, and then just drop it onto the dialogue or the effects, and it treats that whole lane as one bus. I don't like doing compound clips. I would want, and then you drop it here, and then you can it'll open up the editor. Like, you have a little icon where you can open up the tracks, and then I would love to be able to have a multi-track mixer built in here as well. So it's all based on the audio lanes. And if you have 10 lanes, you have 10 tracks. Yes, lane effects. That's what I would want to be able to do. And I'm pretty sure you can't, but I would love to be able to do so much more in this area. Like, do a color grade. Boom, you drop it on your background video. Boom. You don't have to create a compound clip to then edit. Just like, no, all the videos that are based on this role, you get that effect put onto all of it. Like, that's boom. That's my request from Apple. I'm gonna make a video about that, but yeah, that's kind of in the timeline. Yeah, but this is such a powerful little window that a lot of people don't even bother open. I was like, they have it open, like, oh, what's this? And then just close it. But just know, Apple, it still has a weird glitch, at least on my machine, where, yeah, definitely better than the janky adjustment later. For some reason, when this index is open, I get lagginess in Final Cut. So I don't know if it's because it's trying to index it and trying to read it and trying to update this at the same time. So if you ever find that Final Cut is laggy and you have that open, that could be an issue. Maybe I should turn off that roll. There you go. Let's get back to it.
Idle animations or ways to manipulate your footage, like zoom ins, slides, transitions, focuses. And as editor, it's your job to make sure that the viewer is looking where you want them to be. And these plugins are drag and drop and very customizable. And they look great and are very well designed. Anything but simple. And even the newly updated M-Tracker 2 allows you to add very complex animations with a few clicks and not need a degree in motion graphics. Instead of tracks, Final Cut has roles, which are arguably one of colorized label organization. Yes, it does help separate visually.
Yeah, I don't like how that happened. So you see that? Where you're playing
visually what is what, different,
and then I want to move
audio elements such as
the
music,
timeline,
sound effects, or dialogue.
and the audio won't update until you press the spacebar.
You can solo or disable.
It's a little annoying.
Items, or when the project
Just
gets
a little.
big, you can isolate what you want to focus on without the rest of the clutter. You can also export those individual stems, which makes it easy for versioning without having to turn layers on and off. Something that Final Cut has that most of the others don't is that it's a one-time purchase. And I've been using it since 2011 and have received every single update since. No monthly subscription, no web interface, and I've been able to install it on multiple machines with one Apple ID.
So a question for you guys. How many machines have you installed Final Cut Pro onto? Do you have it on more than one? Do you have it on several? Have you put it on every single machine you've had since you bought the application? I think I have it currently installed and completely working on 6 machines. And I'm not logged into those machines anymore. So once it's installed, it don't care. For me, there was no problem before the M1 Max came. That's interesting. Better waveform audio would be fantastic. So yeah, just imagine if you had to.
Do I believe that Apple will, and people have asked,
So now, just imagine if you had to have After Effects or Premiere on multiple machines. It's probably not happening because you have to log in and log out of those ones. But yeah, I think I have it on. I have it on my wife's machine. I have it on my laptop. I have it on my friend's machine. I've given it to a few people because they didn't want to buy it, so I just logged in, downloaded it, and then the only problem is you can't update it, but they're able to use it in that stasis. And almost everybody that I've given it to try out for, this was before Apple had the 90-day trial. Almost every single one of them loved it and ended up buying it for themselves. It's a simple piece of software that seems simple, but is actually can do complex stuff.
One Apple ID. Now, people have asked, do I believe that Apple will? And people have asked, and people do wonder if Apple will, will go to the subscription model. I don't believe so because their software is tied to their hardware. So you'll need to buy their hardware to use their software. I don't believe so because their software is tied to their hardware. So you'll need to buy their hardware just to use the software.
And that's true as well. Because a lot of people are saying like, oh no, Final Cut's going to go to a subscription model. No, it won't. Because you need to buy a $1,000 piece of gear just to use the software. They have the software sale there to make a little bit of extra money because it does add value. But once you have it, then you need to keep using it on their hardware. So there will be a point where that software is not going to run very well on updated that software is not going to run well on their old hardware. So they know, like, the moment you upgrade to the latest OS, there's like a 6-year period where it's just like, okay, that you can't update your OS anymore. So you're kind of stuck, and then you can't update Final Cut as well. So then most people go like, well, it's already 6 years. So boom, now you spent another $1,500 on their latest hardware. Adobe doesn't have that. Adobe doesn't have hardware they can sell you. So they're locked into just raising their prices to make more money. Where if you're using Final Cut, Apple almost guarantees that you will be using their hardware. So they don't care if you aren't paying more for that software that you've already paid for, because you've already spent $7,000 over the course of a decade. They've made their money. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that they will go to subscription model? I don't think so.
You wonder if Apple will go to the subscription model. I don't believe so because their software is tied to their hardware. So you'll need to buy their hardware just to use the software. Another great thing about Final Cut is the automation. The background is the automation. The background render, having background render, and this
That's right. Apple will have me buying Apple computers for the rest of my life because of a $300 program. That's like 100% right. And that's why it's so good. It's so simple to use. But you're like, but you know what? Macs are simple to use. And if you buy the right machine, if you spend the right amount of money for your machine, for your needs, that machine should last you 4 to 5 years easy. The only reason we changed for Final Cut is because pros would not take it for free. They laughed at us. Yeah. They charged $1,300 and sales went gangbusters. We made Express and proof muggles would use it. It's a fantastic program and I'm very thankful for it. I would say it has made me probably the most amount of money. So a $300 program and a $5,000 computer fully loaded is pennies to what I'm able to make with it. So if you're making money with it, don't be like, oh, $200 for RAM. Get the RAM that comes from Apple, because they're getting you better quality RAM than that cheap knockoff stuff. So don't buy that whole thing that you can buy cheaper RAM. No, you can buy a cheaper car too, but it doesn't mean it's going to run as fast as a Tesla. Just like, understand that. AirDrop, quick look. I like the mail program compared to anything else. I'm not a Gmail fan. I don't like using that. I actually like Safari and how easy it is to use. And then just logging into these and iCloud, being able to have access to all my messages just on my computers, like, forget it. Like, I'd rather have one simple system that works. Oh, also the privacy and security is a little bit better. They have proven is much better than most of the other computers out there. That's right. Figure out for your business. That's right. Basically, pros would use it when it was free. Once we charged, would use it or wouldn't use. Yeah, they wouldn't use it once we charged. They did. Yeah. And that's why I talk about people. Make sure that you're charging accordingly for any services that you do, because the higher the price, the more value is actually attributed to your services. And I made this statement before, like, the skills that I've learned are almost identical to the skills I'm using now to when I was working 15 years ago. I'm still doing the same thing. I do it a little bit faster and I have the experience to know how to do something. But the actual thing that I do hasn't changed much, but I've charged more for it. So now I'm charging more for the thing that took me longer to do before. I get it done faster now, but it's still effectively the same thing, and I charge more for it now. So yeah, I make more by working less. All right, let's go a little bit more.
About Final Cut is the automation. Having background render, and this is a setting that you can turn on or off, but if you have an older computer, Final Cut will continue render in the background,
I think we know what you're talking about, Doc. Yeah. When Final Cut was free, they didn't want it. When we charged, they jump on. Yeah. Well, they're used to buying Avid systems. When Final Cut came out, like back in the noughts, they were charging to buy an Avid system was like $200,000 for like a good bare bones system. So when Final Cut came out, that's when the people are like, wow, it's not going to be able to do the same thing that this $200,000 system can do. But yeah, I completely agree. There's added intrinsic value because there's a price.
But if you have an older computer, Final Cut will continue to render in the background. Will continue to render in the background your open timeline when your computer is idle. So when your computer is idle, and this ensures that you'll have smooth playback playback as often as possible. So if you walk away from your,
and I love that Final Cut has like 4 ways to do something.
As possible. So if you walk away from your computer, grab a coffee, it will render your timeline and playback in full quality. And another thing that is so nice within Final Cut that most don't even think about is the auto fit, is its ability to auto fit clips onto the timeline. This is so useful, and you don't even think about it. You literally just drag your click. All you have to do is drag your. You literally useful, and you don't even think about it. All you have to do is drag your clip onto the timeline, and it auto fills it to that timeline, and it auto fills it to that timeline. You don't have to worry about setting the timeline. You don't have to worry onto the timeline, and it auto fills it to that timeline. You don't have to worry about setting the timeline. You don't have to worry about any property settings.
I think I bought it October 2020 or 2011. So I've had Final Cut Pro X since 11 years now. You moving on up. Now you're in Hawaii, enjoying life. Yeah, it's still happening, Doc. So it's that that freeze is still happening. That's interesting.
So useful. Most don't even think about. You don't have to worry about any property settings. It just Final Cut automatically fits it into your timeline. No extra steps needed. Autofix step.
So the automation in Final Cut Pro is fantastic. The background render, I think it's been there since the beginning, is such a handy feature. And After Effects just added that feature. I don't think Premiere has it yet, but After Effects just added that feature. The only problem, the biggest problem with After Effects having it is that it will render this massive file and it'll keep re-rendering nonstop, and it'll actually slow down the system. It's not a background renderer. It's like if you're just moving clips around, it doesn't know that you're doing something. So it's still rendering in the background, and all of a sudden it locks up After Effects, which drives me nuts. Where Final Cut, like the moment you move your mouse, the background renderer stops if you have it turned on. But if you have a modern machine or a faster machine, it's not even necessary. But it stops it. It stops that process. Whereas After Effects will just keep chugging the render if you're moving stuff around, and it's like whatever timeline you have open, even if it's not the timeline you're working with. And it's just like, oh, it drives me nuts. Again, like Apple has figured out so much stuff that is automated and just works really well. But Adobe is like, hey, that would be cool. We'll do it in a really bad way.
Your timeline. No extra steps needed. Autofit clips to the timeline is so useful, or they call it spatial useful, or they call it spatial.
Hey, Caleb, how's it going? Happy Sunday to you.
Spatial conform. In other apps, you have to drop an HD. In other.
Yeah, and the spatial conform, the automatic timeline setup, the spatial conform, just the fit to the frame is such a good tool that Premiere doesn't. So if you have an HD clip that you try to pull into a 4D timeline, it creates it all tiny and small. But if you have an HD timeline and you bring in a 4K clip, it'll bring it in too big, and then you have to scale stuff down. Where here it just interpolates it automatically, and then you can change it if you don't want, or if you want.
Call it spatial conform. In other apps, if you want to drop an HD clip onto a 4K timeline, you have to manually scale it up to fit. Final Cut automatically fits it to your timeline. No extra step, no extra your timeline. No extra steps are needed. And another huge one is the automatic timeline creation.
Are you doing it through Wi-Fi or are you directly plugged in? Because you can actually find when you upload, if you're plugged in to the router or to if you're hardwired in, the upload speeds can actually be a lot faster than the Wi-Fi is able to do. They actually have two speeds on your Wi-Fi router, so you may not be using your full upload speed capability. Always be hardwired.
Timeline creation. And another huge one is automatic timeline creation based on the first clip. When you create a new project, you
No, no, Wi-Fi. Okay. Then just be patient.
on the first clip. When you create a new project, you drag.
Oh, I've dealt with that many times. Especially when I was working abroad or working on location and trying to upload something in the hotel room. Brutal. Hotels are not fun for video capabilities. Though you can ask to go to if you are ever traveling and you need to upload something really fast, in their business rooms, in their business lounges, they do have wired connections, which are much faster than are available in the hotel rooms. Oh, man, I've had that too many times. So that's where I kind of went. That's where I found out about the business lounge, where their Wi-Fi, or not Wi-Fi, but their internet connections are much stronger in their business sections. So hopefully you're not in a hotel room, or hopefully you are and you need to go, or you could do that. I don't know.
On the first clip. When you create a new project, you drag your. When you create a new project and drag. When you create a new project and you drag a clip onto it, it's all set up. You create a new project and drag. When you create a new project and you drag your. When you create a new project. When you create a new project and you drag a clip onto it, it's all set up. It pulls the properties from the clip. There's no trying to figure out what the properties are from the footage to set up the timeline. And once it's set.
Oh, and also your computer will know that you need to upload something. So don't let it know you need to upload something and you're in a hurry. It's like a printer. When the printer knows you need to print something, it's the worst.
Timeline. And once it's set,
Technology knows, man.
Any other formats, and it just plays and works. This is one of the biggest time savers. This is one of the biggest time savers. Works. This is one of the biggest time savers. This is one of the biggest. Works. This is one of the biggest time savers at the beginning.
Yeah, so just to give you a little recap, I'm just working on my next video, which the whole project is about. Don't fear Final Cut Pro. This is for people that have thought about switching over, but they're like, oh, but I won't, they're comfortable being in something else. This is more for like, if you switch over to Final Cut, you'll get this, this, and this, which is not available in all the other apps. So yeah, this is that kind of video. Here, I'm going to show you. Let me know what you guys think about this. This is the thumbnail. Let me know what you guys think. Where is it? Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just pull it up. So can you guys see that? It's tiny, small. Let's see if I can make it bigger. I'll bring it into. Where is it? There's my overlay. Let's go to entire screen, and then that is the thumbnail. So yeah, the title is going to be "Don't Fear Final Cut Pro." Add in the word reachable. So yeah, it's because I had many conversations like with a lot of people who they use DaVinci or Final Cut, and they just say to me, it's like, but I'm comfortable in this. And then the moment, like every time someone switches over, then they just have this great experience, and they're like, why didn't I do it sooner? Oh, come on, go. Sometimes procrastination is good. How's it going, Sergio? Happy Sunday to you. It's more of the pros, not necessarily the cons. Well, that's not true, because at the end of the video, I do talk about Final Cut isn't perfect. It doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't do everything beautifully. And if you need to do collaboration work, it's not the best for it. It can be done, but it's not ideal. There are better projects for it. And it's only on Mac. But people who are thinking about Final Cut Pro, they're probably already on a Mac. That's right. Comfort is the fastest path to death. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. 100%.
And once it's set, you can drop any other format and it just plays and works.
And most of the fears that people had with Final Cut is that they're like, oh, but it doesn't have good color tools, or it doesn't have good audio. It's like, do you need those? Most people don't even need these things that they say that their other app doesn't have. What do you need to actually do with this application? Get an edit done. This is the best application to get an edit done. Unless if you're working on a team and you're working on Netflix shows or blockbuster movies, fine, no problem. Use the system that is built around the collaborative workflow that can manage, that can, have producers be able to check in, and it does all this like categorizing stuff where you need. But if you're a solo creator and you just need to create an edit and get it done as quickly as possible, why would you want to pain yourself with stuff with an application that is so the learning curve is huge just because it has a better color workflow? No, it's an editor. If you want to get an edit done, if you want to get your base edit done, and then you want to round trip it to a professional color grading suite, cool, fine, do it that way. But don't let your time be stolen from you because you're wasting time. Like this is the Premiere workflow. Okay, I want to move this clip over here. Okay, so I'm gonna use my keyboard shortcut to select everything here, and then I'm gonna move it over, and then I'm going to take this and move it, and it's just like, why would you want to do something like that? Why would you want to do it? Like, why can't you just go like this? Why is that like? But it's so hard. I don't want to do that. It's confusing. It's not the way they used to do it. Here's a story. There was this old story of, it was, I think it was a holiday, and the daughter comes up to the mom and says, "Mommy, why do you cut the ends of the ham off before you put it into the pot, not the pot, whatever. Why do you cut the ends of the ham off?" And she's like, "Well, because that's how we've always done it." And then the mother goes, "Yeah, why do we do it?" And she turns to the grandma, and the grandma says, "Grandma, why?" Or like the mother turns to her mother and says, "Mom, why do you cut off the ends of the ham? Because why do you cut off the ends of the ham?" And then the grandmother, so the mother of the mother, says like, "Oh, that's how my mom used to do it. That's how it's always been done." And then the great grandmother is there, so the grandmother turns to her mother and says, why do we cut off the ends of the ham?" And she's like, "Oh, because the actual pan that we're using was too small to fit the ham in that we had, so we cut off the ends of the ham." And it's just like, there's no reason for just because something was done before does not mean that it's needed to be done now. It was a necessity back then. Yeah, exactly. The oven size, the ham wouldn't fit into the oven. So just because, if anyone ever says to you, that's how it's always been done, it just means that they have no idea why they're doing it. They're just doing it because it's comfortable. It's the way it's always been done. But that doesn't mean that there are better ways to do something. So if you found a better way to do something, and like it has been so prevalent on how to become like a known photographer in today's age. Like you need to be Instagram famous to become a new popular photographer, right? Or do something that hasn't been done the way it was done before. And it's like, films were always shot on film because that's how they used to do it. That's how it's always been done. No, films were shot on film because there was nothing better than film. And now I feel that digital technology is much better than film. The next Spielberg that is growing up today is shooting his first films on film? No, he's shooting them on his iPhone. And he's just going to keep using digital format because he can bring it into the computer and manipulate it. There is no barrier to entry. Anyways, rant over. Thanks for coming to my raft talk. Oh, there we go again. Just does not like it. So Doc, that trick has not worked. It's still giving me the same error where it
Create a new project,
kicking me out.
drag a clip onto it. It's all set up. It pulls the properties from the clip. There's no...
Or get yourself a color temperature meter. This is the Lumu Power 2 or something like that. And it just plugs into your iPhone. Oh, you guys can't see it. So this just plugs into your iPhone. And this is my color temperature gauge. There we go. And it gives me the full reading. Color temperature, I can do the whole... so I know exactly what color temperature the room is, because the lights that you buy, even though it says 5600 or 3200 or whatever daylight, they aren't. And I've tested every light that I've ever bought, and almost none of them has been color accurate. They're close, but sometimes even from the same manufacturer, they can be off by a couple hundred degrees Kelvin. So I don't know if they still sell these. B&H has it. Adorama has it. Lumu. Let me see if I can find the link for you guys. Lu.mu. And that's where you find it. Or Lumi. No, it's Lumi. No, Lumu. That's right. Boom. Will I get banned for my own thing? So that's what I use. And then yeah, just click on shop. I don't have an affiliate link. They used to, but they don't have it anymore. It's about $300 for the one that has the color temperature one. That's the one I use, the power. And this is something else. I've had this since they announced it. So like I think I'm on year 7 with this thing. So it's one of those things that you buy once and you just know exactly the color temperature. And it's great for photography, for photo, video. The power one is the one that gives you the color temperature one. And it also does the chromaticity. And it's really good. Like it's not, I wouldn't say it's like the $1,000 ones, but it's great enough where I can put it in front of the light that I have here and it'll give me the color temperature within like a couple of Kelvin. It's pretty good. And there's a whole tutorial. So yeah, it's one of the must-haves that I use all the time. And it's tiny. Like this is the carrying case right there. Like that's it. That's the whole unit. So it's always in my bag. And if you have a phone, that's the app is free and you just use it. So yeah, boop, there it is. I have it on my desk. It's in my bag all the time. Anytime I go on a shoot, it's always with me. Because the color temperature is never what is on the box for the lights, especially any lights that are the sub $1,000 lights. But if you know the color temperature that's coming out, you can set your camera to be exactly the color temperature you need, and your color correction is near perfect every single time. Like that's why when at the beginning of the stream, when I dropped my LUT on it, it was already perfect because like it's already set. Like I think because the light that I'm using has a reflector in it, a golden reflector, so it changes it to be a little bit warmer, and then it's bouncing off this white sheet, not sheet, but the sound blanket that I have up here. And then by the time it reaches here, because this is where I would do the test, by the time it reaches here, it's at 6100 Kelvin, even though this light is rated at 5600. That's what it can change. And you don't know what kind of filters can be put in these lights. Yeah, that's right. Nice and compact. You know what? We're going to leave it there. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. This has been fantastic. I'm going to keep editing, but I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to go grab some dinner. But you guys have been amazing. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having some fun with me editing this. I'm going to keep going. Make sure you check out the video that's coming up later this week. That will be the full-on edit of this. Also, on my second channel, I do a lot of live streams that do these kind of deep dives. But I think moving forward, I'm going to do a few more live edits like this. I like this. I like I may do it kind of on my downtime on the weekends. But yeah, otherwise, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Enjoy it. I hope you guys have a lot of fun stuff and have a great week ahead. Okay, I'm going to do a little countdown, let you guys say goodbyes. I'm going to do the same thing and go here. I'm going to stay on for a little bit and just say, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Mute my mic, and I'll talk to you guys soon.